Burning Springs was kind of a refuge for me. It was a quiet little town in the valley. Jeb Lacey, an old friend of mine, had a booming mercantile business there. Also did double duty as town banker. He always had a job for me when I wanted one.
There you are, Zeke. They're all yours. Hi, Vint. I'll be with you in a minute.
No hurry, Miss Lacey.
That'll be $2 each. Can I give you a hand with those, Zeke?
I can handle it.
That Zeke's a little scrawny, but he's a good citizen.
A little scrawny.
Well, how'd you go today?
Everything's smooth, no trouble.
Good job, as usual.
Now, what's on the slate for tomorrow?
I got a pouch of $3,000 going up to Oroville in the morning.
I'll be here at 6.
Vint, you're looking a little peaked. Maybe you better make that 7.
I haven't stayed in bed till 7 since I was a yearling, Mr. Lacey.
Look, I'm the boss around here. It's an order. 7 o'clock it is. See you then.
You're the boss.
I'll find it if you give me half the chance. Now, do be careful, old boy. It's genuine Morocco, you know.
Look, mister, I got a schedule to make, so don't give me any fancy names.
Well, it's brown leather with gold finishings. Quite good looking, if I do say so myself. It was a going-away gift from my great-uncle Percy Cadwallader. A favorite valise from a favorite great-uncle. Now, I wouldn't want to lose it. Look over there somewhere, won't you?
Is this it?
Ah, you found it, old man. Good for you. Great-uncle Percy simply would have been crushed if I'd lost it. Now, do be careful in handing it down. I say, old boy, is my cravat crooked?
No, I was just waiting to get by.
Oh, I am taking more room than I should. You will forgive me, I'm sure.
Sure.
I say, you seem a decent enough fellow. Could you direct me to the best hotel in town?
This is it. I'm staying here.
Yes, I have noticed accommodations here in Western America are a bit skimpy. But be that as it may, one must make do is my motto.
Sure.
Do you mind if I tag along?
No, come along.
I say, could I trouble you again? Is there a pub anywhere about?
Pub?
Oh, a pub, dear boy, is a place to get a nip of brandy and the like. Something to wash this insufferable western dust out of my throat.
You mean a saloon? Sure, there's one in the hotel here.
Oh, a saloon, is it?
Saloon.
Well, I expect that will have to do. Would you take that one, please? Thank you. I say you've been terribly kind, Mr.
Bonner, Vint Bonner.
Oh, my name is Archibald Jarrett, the third. The pleasure's distinctly mine, Mr. Bonner.
Joe, I get any mail?
I say, isn't it a smashing coincidence, Mr. Bonner? I have a Vint in my own family.
Oh?
It's a second or third cousin on my Aunt Desiree's side. Or is it on my great-uncle Percy's? Well, stunning fellow anyway. Wouldn't it be funny if we were related?
That would be funny. Joe! Joe! This man wants a room.
Hold on a minute, Mr. Bonner. Why not allow me to buy you a snifter of brandy? It's amazingly good for the complexion, you know.
I could use a drink.
That's right. After all, where else do we have to go? I'll cheer up this grouchy old man, and then I'll meet you in the bar. Why don't you run on ahead? Now, where do you want me to sign this little book? Thank you.
Bonner, you old hound dog, you. Come on over here. Have a drink with me. Hey, bartender, bring over another glass, will you?
What, this is the first time I've seen you since Arizona.
Yeah, well, I'm just passing through now. Got to pull out in a short while again. Say, you know, the last time I saw you was that time you had me locked up in the ice house in Phoenix. You know, I almost froze my legs off.
Well, look, Mort, if you wouldn't play jokes on your friends, they wouldn't have to play them back on you. You know why I left you in the ice house? You took half the powder out of my cartridges the afternoon of the turkey shoot. And those boys that bet the $500 on me to win were pretty mad.
Well, I guess those days are gone forever, huh, Vin? It was a mite dangerous, but it sure was fun. Sure is good to see you again.
You gonna leave right away?
Yeah, I'm pulling out in about 10 minutes.
Oh.
Well, Vin, I'll be seeing you again in about 2 years, huh? Don't you take any wooden dollars.
I'll take care.
Vint, you'll pay for the drinks, huh?
fascinating. Such dexterity. But forgive me, Mr. Bonner, I've changed the subject, momentarily taken with a bit of your local color. As I remember, we were talking about me. Now, before we go on, may I make one humble request?
Go right ahead.
Please, don't call me a writer. The proper term is journalist.
Oh.
You see, I'm in your country on an assignment for several British journals, doing a series of articles on the American West's common cowboy.
Common cowboy. Well, I'm amazed you chose this section. Nothing very exciting happens around here.
Oh, but that's where you're wrong. You see, a true journalist always finds something to write about.
Why did you come to Burning Springs?
Oh, I hate to admit it, Mr. Bonner. It was the name that intrigued me. Burning Springs. You know, I can't wait to see them.
Matter of fact, I'd like to see him myself.
How about another?
I can take a short one.
Bartender, 2 of the same. You know, this colonial brandy is amazingly good.
Yeah, pretty good.
I'm afraid I've been frightfully selfish, old boy. My great-uncle Percy, may he rest in peace, tried admirably to break me of the habit of always talking about myself. Looks like I've gone and done it again. Tell me, Mr. Bonner, what sort of work do you do?
Oh, nothing much. I ride for Lacey's Mercantile. I deliver money.
Oh, sounds terribly exciting.
Matter of fact, it's kind of dull, but I like it.
Oh, you're being terribly modest. How about my riding one trip with you on your job? For research, it would make smashingly good reading.
Wouldn't do any harm. Can you ride?
Oh, now you're joking, old boy. I was equestrian leader at my prep school for 2 years running. Where I come from, that's a jolly good job of work.
All right, tomorrow. That too soon?
Oh, perfect. Shall we drink to our adventure together? To the morrow.
So the dude's a writer.
That's right, old man, but what...
Well, then how come I never heard of you?
I do say, old boy, are you sure you know how to read?
All right, cowboy, on your way.
You just stay out of this, common cowboy.
It's all right, Mr. Bonner. Let the gentleman proceed. He seems to want some sort of satisfaction.
Mr. Jarrett, suppose we have something to eat.
I never did like dudes in general, and you in particular.
Now, that is a shame. Do you know, sir, you are uncouth.
Oh, I ain't cool. I'm as cool as you are.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bonner, but it really wasn't necessary for you to intercede. You see, one must always have the means to defend oneself if the occasion should arise. Now, shall we have a bite of supper? Exercise always did give me an appetite.
I see. Well, sit down right over here.
Thank you.
You know, for a stranger in our country, you take care of yourself pretty well.
Oh, think nothing of it, old boy. Think nothing of it at all. Now, what's on the menu for tonight?
Buffalo steaks, I think.
Oh, by Jove, great Uncle Percy would have loved that. Buffalo steak.
What are you doing?
Oh, taking notes, of course. I don't want to forget a thing. I have a wretched memory. Buffalo steaks. By Jove, what luck. Good morning, Mr. Bonner. Looking for me, I trust.
Matter of fact, I was.
Shall we go?
Sure. Morning, Mr. Lacey.
Oh, hi, Vint. You all ready to go?
Already, this is Mr. Jarrett. He's a friend of mine.
Oh, what's your pleasure, Mr. Jared? Chewing tobacco?
Oh, no, I'm afraid not.
Mr. Jarrett is a writer, a journalist from England. He's doing some research on the West. I told him I was taking some money to Arlville today.
Vince's been kind enough to let me come along.
If it's all right with you, Mr. Lacey.
Well, I guess so. There's over $3,000 in this pouch. Little company might come in handy.
$3,000 seems a frightful sum to leave lying about.
That's why I'm sending it up to Orville. They got a good, strong bank up there. And with Vint taking it, I know it'll get there.
You have a wonderful faith in human nature, Mr. Lacey. I must remember that.
And let's move.
$3,000.
Harlan? Got my horse?
Here he is, Mr. Bonner. He's all ready for you.
Good. Bring that horse for Mr. Jarrett out, too.
We got one that's rested up real good, sir.
I say, that's a cumbersome-looking contraption. You don't suppose they'd have an English saddle anywhere about?
Oh, I haven't heard of an English saddle in this territory.
Here he is right here, sir.
Now, I suppose they don't have one. Do you suppose you could give me a leg up English style?
Try anything once. How do you go about it?
Just take my ankle.
Oh?
Thank you. I say, what a frightful waste of leather.
Yeah, I suppose so. What's the matter?
I do believe we're being followed.
There's a bend up ahead. Straight stretch afterwards. We'll lose them there.
Do you suppose they could be after the money?
We aren't going to wait around and ask them. Come on.
Hold it! If I was you, I'd look around before I get any ID. If you behave yourself, there'll be no need for guns. Now, unbuckle that belt real easy and let it drop. Get down. Not you, Fancy. You'll be going with us.
I don't understand.
You will. All right, off with your pants and shirt.
What is this?
Please don't argue, friend. It's not courtesy in front of guests. Hurry it up. Man just don't look right without his hat. All right, bring Fancy over here. Have a nice stroll, mister. This is the biggest joke of the century. I can just see him walking into town, the underwear kid, wearing boots and hat and long johns.
I'd say your plan has been a smashing success.
A smashing success. You were perfect, Jared. What would your Uncle Percy say if he saw you now, huh?
Please, Mr. Askins, my great Uncle Percy is no laughing matter. Nevertheless, I dare say he would be quite proud.
What about the money, boss? Oh, we take it back.
I'd hate to be a wet blanket and all that, old man. But despite the fact that you're an old friend of Vint Bonner's, he's going to be very happy if he can tear you to pieces.
Thank you for the warning, Jared. But you know, I couldn't have pulled this off without your help. I wouldn't be surprised if he was saving a few licks for the English. Well, come on, fellas, we better get back to town.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
How about it, Jip? All there?
Oh, it seems to be. But now, what is all this nonsense, and where's Vin?
Well, you see, Vint and me are old friends. We used to work the range together, and we we sort of got in the habit of working a practical joke on each other now and then.
And you, Jared, were you in on this too?
Oh, I wouldn't have missed it at any cost. It was a beautiful, delightful scheme. I do believe it has classic possibilities.
You know, Jared and I arranged the whole thing.
I saw Vince's horse over at the stable. Now how's he going to get back?
He should be walking in at any moment.
Yeah, in his underwear.
Oh, no. Oh,
Mr. Lacey, I was robbed.
Mr. Haskins
men.
here brought the money in, Vince.
4 men. They had 2 shotguns and 2... Mr. Who?
Mort Haskins here. He says he's no friend of yours. He planned the whole thing.
Now, don't be a bad sport, Vint. I can remember the time you had me locked up in that slaughterhouse in Kansas City overnight. Those hogs got a little potent before the night was over.
Who are you, mister?
Oh, it's me, Mort. You gotta remember. What's the matter with you, Vint? Can't you take a joke anymore? You gotta admit it was a pretty good one. Come on inside and get your clothes.
I don't know you from Adam. All I know is if you brought that money in, you had something to do with a robbery. That's up to the sheriff here.
Who's that English dude, anyway?
The money. I left the money right here.
Are you sure?
This, gentlemen, is what I believe you call a hold-up. Will you join your friends, Mr. Bonner? I hope you're not as foolish a man as you look right now. Don't worry, Mr. Lacey. I shall take very good care of your money. Now, gentlemen, I would hate to be the cause of any violence. Would you kindly remove your guns and place them somewhere out of reach?
The joke's over, Jared. We've had our laugh.
The guns! What a warped sense of humor you have, Mr. Askins. Haven't you noticed? The joke's just begun. And I really am a very excellent shot, even with this cumbersome weapon. I hope you don't make me prove it.
Oh, just a minute.
This time, I only took a tuck in your arm. Now, a word of warning to all of you, my friends. I'm no amateur at this sort of thing. My great-uncle Percy taught me the trade quite well. But I have made some unfortunate mistakes, which puts me in a rather difficult position. You see, I have 2 previous convictions in Virginia and 1 in a forlorn place called Boston. I have no intention of getting another. As I understand, they're quite strict here in America with the 4th offender. Isn't that right, Sheriff? Now, don't be such a bore, Sheriff. It isn't as if I were taking any of your money. You have no reason to be sullen.
Believe me, Vint, I didn't know what he was.
You sure pick up with the darndest friends.
That is a shame. And I thought he was such a good judge of human nature. And to shoot him with his own gun. I must enlist your aid once more, Mr. Bonner. I'm sure you won't mind this last time.
What about Lacey?
An admirable thought. He is not that badly hurt that he couldn't wait a moment while I make an appropriate exit. Would you kindly incapacitate our friends? You must admit it would save further unpleasantries. I do so detest bloodletting. Would you gentlemen mind standing back to back? Mr. Bonner, must I remind you that I shall inspect your handiwork? Surely an accomplished cowboy like you can do better than that. That's better. Mr. Askins, I noticed today that your horse seems to be stronger than mine. I'm sure you won't mind the trade.
How far do you think you'll get?
Mexico, Canada, China, the South Seas. Possibilities are infinite when one has money. After you, Mr. Bonner. And remember, this gun will be trained on you every moment. One more favor, Mr. Bonner, and I'll trouble you no longer. You'll give me a leg up as you did before. And, Mr. Bonner, I trust you will be discreet and attempt no heroics. I would so dislike putting an unsightly hole through your head. Now make it snappy, old boy. My time for goodbyes has just been slashed to the bone. The reins, please.
How much do you suppose he could get?
Well, after all, he did commit the robbery.
And he instigated the whole thing, too.
Well, now, wait a minute, Vin.
Let me see. Attempted robbery. That's 5 years.
Oh, five.
Possession of stolen goods. Another 2 years, maybe.
7.
That's 7.
Harboring a known fugitive. 3 more years.
10 years?
Could amount to a tidy sum.
No, look here, Sheriff. You listen to me. I don't know. I never had it. This fellow, I never...
Have you no consideration at all? After all, we were caught rather red-handed, as the saying goes.
You stay out of this.
I find it hard to believe that he's the criminal type.
Yeah, some men start late in life, you know. I still got to hold him till a circuit judge gets here next month.
Mom, Vince, you can't leave me alone in this jail.
See what you mean. True criminal face, and the temper to match.
Yeah, well, don't worry. We know how to take care of his kind.
I say, Sheriff, is there any way I can get some peace and quiet in here?
Do you think your Uncle Percy will bail you out?
You couldn't very well do that, old boy. Dead, you know. Hanged him 8 years ago in London for murder. Messy old man. Always used the razor. Oh, well.
Well, Mort, goodbye. Pretty good judge of people. Thought I'd seen most every kind of crook, too. That is, until I met some of the strange new residents of a town called Happy Hollow. I'd ridden across one state and a territory to help Aldrich Newton celebrate 20 years in newspapering. Happy Hollow didn't look so very happy. And old Newt's newspaper, the Happy Hollow Harbinger, didn't look so good either.
Hello, Vince. Am I glad to see you?
What in the world happened?
You're just in time for the wake.
Well, is this the way you celebrate 20 years of newspaper?
Friend, I just crusaded myself right out of business.
Tell me about it.
Remember Blair Weeks?
Sure, I remember him. Used to do all his arguing with a six-shooter.
Oh, he's come up in the world. Even as a pair of hired guns working for him. Yep, he's got this town right in the palm of his hand.
Well, how about you? Anybody on your side? The sheriff? The mayor?
The sheriff. You take a mayor with expensive taste, he needs a mansion more than we need a schoolhouse. You take a sheriff with an appetite like a horse, he needs a hotel more than we need a jail. And you take a judge who fights the roulette table by the hour, he needs a gambling house more than we need a church.
Who's doing the pay?
Cost the people $5,000. That's why I went in a crusade.
Anyone backing you up?
Oh, the town's in my side, all right, but when the mayor hired Blair Weeks to see him through the election, the whole town ducked for cover.
When is the election?
Took place last week. Got themselves re-elected by due process of crime. Thought I had him cornered last Friday. I printed a letter from the governor thanking the Harbinger for reporting the grave state of affairs here in Happy Hollow and promising to send a special investigator.
When is he due in?
He isn't. Governor didn't write the letter. I did. Now I'm out of business.
I helped you put old Horace Wheeler together here, remember?
Yeah, you was just a youngster.
And I don't want to see it shut up. Any more than I want to see you shut up.
Won't be easy, Vint.
You used to tell me that nothing good ever comes easy, remember?
Vint, I have a feeling we might hold that celebration after all.
Let's get this place straightened up.
Bonner. I know how he looks and I know how he shoots.
Well, the trouble with our sheriff is ever since old Newt pulled his bluff about that special investigator coming down here from the Capitol.
How do you know it was a bluff? Like I was saying before the judge interrupted us, Vint Bonner's a sight more to worry about than any special investigator.
Blair Weeks has 2 hole cards. Bonner's got none.
Go fetch Bonner.
You mean Blair Weeks, don't you?
No, you fool, Bonner. Now go on.
You know, if you was behind the roulette wheel, I'd say you were fixing for a crooked spin.
I sure am. I'm hiring Bonner to get rid of Blair Weeks for me.
Well, what for?
Because I want my town back.
Oh, so if Bonner does win out, he'll move right in like Blair did.
That's where you're wrong. Bonner's got an itchy saddle. He can't stand to be tied down anywhere.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, daughter.
You're perspiring again. Now, has somebody been making you nervous?
Oh, go upstairs. I'm expecting a visitor.
A man?
What did you think, a horse?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Oh, I'm sorry, darling. I'm very upset. You'll have to stay out of his sight.
You know, it might just as well be a horse, after all.
The way old Newt accepted the mayor's invite for me, I knew he must have something up his sleeve. Trouble was, I didn't know what. Only thing I could do was kind of feel my way through the situation.
I'm Mayor Love, Mr. Bonner. Welcome to Happy Hollow.
Thank you. I've already been welcomed.
Well, come on in. Come on in. Oh, Judge Adams, I want you to meet Vint Bonner.
Well, hi.
Hello, Judge.
Has Newton told you about us?
Oh, foul slander. Open and shut case or open and shut case.
I heard about you boys up at the Capitol.
How are things at the Capitol, Mr. Bonner?
Rena, we're talking business.
I know. Go to your room and don't interrupt.
Well, getting back to old Newt.
He thinks we're in league with one Blair Weeks and his gunman.
When the truth of the matter is, we have to submit to them or they'd ravage our town.
Oh, we put up with a lot.
You just give me one good deputy, like yourself, and I'd show 'em who's boss around here.
Or even a marshal of Mr. Bonner's caliber.
The job pays better.
Yes, and a marshal of Mr. Bonner's caliber could name his own price.
And rate a bonus, maybe.
I see. Well, it sounds like a job for a good man. I've got one.
Tell Blair it's got to look like a personal quarrel. I don't want Bonner's death traced to me.
If only he'd have seen things our way.
Yes, he seems so nice. Coming from the capital and all.
Well, he isn't nice.
The capital? That's why he went direct to Aldrich Newton. He's the special investigator.
The special investigator?
Well, I still think he's nice.
He's come back.
Rita, upstairs. Oh, it's you.
We thought you was Vint Bonner coming back.
He's the special investigator.
So that's what he was doing at the Harbinger, huh? We'll have to take care of him.
But you killed Bonner, and the cavalry hit Happy Hollow like a swarm of locusts.
That's right.
Oh, will you stop digging our graves? We're a long way from being dead.
What do you got in mind?
My daughter.
Serena? No, you don't.
It's only temporary until we've got Bonner hooked.
You, wouldn't have said the same thing about me?
Now, look, you can't kill a special investigator and get away with it. And if we let him investigate, we're sunk. Rena's my only chance.
Why not bribe him?
Not until Rena softened him up.
All right, we'll try it.
Then here's the play. Now, first, you've got to make him think that he scared you out of town.
Bonner?
Yes. Then circle back here and hide in my cellar.
Why?
Well, because I want you near. You'll know what's going on.
I'll buy it. But only until noon tomorrow.
That's mighty short rope.
10 minutes after 12, and it'll be like the judge said. You wish the cavalry had come.
Takes the weight of the world right off my shoulders.
What do you suppose made Blair Weeks and his men leave town?
Why, he saw Vint Bonner and got scared. It's that simple.
There's Bonner himself.
Well, Happy Hollow owes you a vote of thanks, Mr. Bonner.
Now that jail is as broken down as your office.
Yep, you can break out of one as easy as you can break into the other.
Now, I know what you're thinking, but with Blair Weeks gone, I can talk freely.
I'm not interested.
Mayor's entitled to respect, Vin.
That's right nice of you, Newt.
Will you come to my house alone?
Of course he will.
Judge Adams wanted to see you.
Oh, he did, eh? I'll be with you directly, Mr. Bonner. Now, you make yourself right at home.
Why, it's Mr. Bonner. Hello. I'm Serena. Papa said I could be very friendly with you. Would you like to kiss my hand?
Afraid I'm not the type.
Well, whatever type you are, I like it. Don't you think I'm pretty?
Yes, you're pretty.
I think that all girls should be soft and nice. All over. Don't you? None of my ribs show. Sit down. I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't like this town, and I'd like to get away, but, well, it's so difficult for a single girl and all.
Well, while you're talking, let's be completely honest. I don't like the town either. But your father made it what it is. Why? And where do you fit in?
Do you have any money?
Money? No, I don't.
Oh, that's too bad. But I suppose some men are like that. I mean, until they find the right girl.
Why, maybe you're right.
Well, you two getting acquainted, I see.
Papa, Mr. Bonner hasn't a cent to his name.
Look, Mayor, I'm going to be frank with you. You collected money for a new jail.
We did.
And a schoolhouse.
Just what our town needs.
And a church.
Well, Blair Weeks absconded with the funds.
That's right, every blasted cent.
You say Mr. Bonner has no money?
He just told me so himself.
Now, gentlemen, did you ever hear of such a thing? A man of influence without money?
Well, no.
Well, do something about it. Oh, Rena, weren't you and Mr. Bonner going for a ride?
Nobody said anything about it.
He means he doesn't like me.
But I think it might be a very nice idea.
Oh, I think it would be a lovely idea.
Now, don't you worry about hurrying back, dear. I know that you're in very good hands.
Oh, I'm going to take you to the most beautiful, romantic spot you've ever seen.
Hey! Greatest piece of luck I ever saw. 8 sevens in a row. And it's yours, Bonner. All yours.
Are you loco?
But I won it for you. 1,000 cash.
$1,000?
Yes?
1,000 measly dollars.
I'll just double that for you.
Rena goes only to a man of wealth and influence.
Well, it seems as how Mr. Bonner has a mind of both.
Especially influence.
I see what you mean. That begins to seem possible. You might call it up.
Oh, no. Don't even think such a thing.
Shall we go, Serena?
Special investigators sure come high.
Blair?
It's working.
That daughter of yours. She's got a heart like a weather vane.
Now, you know as well as I do that she's doing this under orders.
She don't act to me like she's making any sacrifices.
We'll play it my way as long as I'm in charge around here.
All right, you're in charge around here. Till noon tomorrow. talking about being honest back at your house.
Yes.
Tell me something. Do you like the life that you and your father lead?
No. I mean, all those men that he makes me be nice to and everything. That's why I want to leave. I could go anywhere with a man like you, Vint.
Or, Blair Weeks?
No.
Tell me about Blair Weeks.
I could tell an awful lot about Blair Weeks. To the man who'd take me away from here.
I see.
Almost 9. You'd think she'd show a little consideration.
Wait till I get my hands on her, and him.
Now, just be patient.
I'm running out of patience.
This doesn't mean that Rena ran out on us. There, she didn't.
Rena,
Is he hooked?
got him primed to leave town?
Well, where is he? What did he say? Did he promise anything? Well, Rena, speak to me.
She didn't, huh?
Aren't you acting a mite hasty, Newt? Now, sit down here. I got a few things to tell you.
I'd feel a sight better if you'd let me call in some mannequin trusts to back you up.
No, Newt. We'll do it my way.
What kind of talk is that? You don't know where Bonner is. Look, you've got 1 hour and a half to get him out of town.
I tell you, he'll be along directly. Now, it's all fixed. Rena and I are taking the noon stage to the Capitol. Bonner's got to come along.
What do you mean, got it?
Well, because he's human.
Vint, you naughty boy. Now, where have you been? Now, sit down, sit down.
That floor up there is a regular sounding board.
That's fine. That's fine. So you keep talking good and loud, or I'll know the double cross is on.
You're just about the shrewdest critter this side of Dodge.
I am?
Yes, sir. You made yourself a fortune overnight.
And there it is.
Well, I guess I am kind of smart at that.
Well, Vint, how are you?
Well, as a matter of fact, I never felt better in my life.
Me too. In fact, I feel so good that I'm going to join you two lovebirds on the noon stage.
Oh, I'm afraid that'll be kind of impossible now.
Oh, but Vint, you promised me last... No, you can't go back on your word.
Now, dear, I'm not backing out on anything, but I've taken a look around your town, and Happy Hollow seems to me like a nice place to settle down in.
Settle down. Here?
You can't do that to us.
But Vint, you're much too big for Happy Hollow.
Oh, I can't go back to the capital, not with all this money.
Well, then go somewhere else.
Well, I like it here. Besides, it was big enough for Blair Weeks, it's big enough for me. And Rena's been telling me all about it.
Rena.
Well, I don't see what difference it makes. It's all in the family, anyway.
No objections, I hope.
I object.
Me too.
Serena, how could you do this to me?
Because Vint and I are in love with each other.
He can hear every word you say.
Get off.
Get down there.
Get over there.
Get down.
Down.
Do you know who's in the cellar?
I warned them.
Well, you know you're asking for a showdown, don't you? Well, it's 3 against 1. This isn't any of my fight.
I never thought you were a coward.
Both of you, get out of here. Do you realize what it means to double-cross Blair Weeks?
Yes, Your Honor. That's what it means, Your Honor.
Serena, get out.
I'm not leaving.
I'd just as soon shoot right through that no-good double-crosser. I'm going to start shooting at the count of 3. 1, 2.
The town is ours now, Vint. We don't have to share it with anybody else. It belongs to us.
Town belongs to itself, to the people in it. Folks like yourself, your father, you're through.
I could change.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about your father. I thought Blair'd come gunning for me. About your changing, you've got a whole lifetime to find out. Took the town a little while to recover, but old Newt made a very good mayor. And my bribe money went quite a ways toward the new schoolhouse and the jail, not to mention the church. Serena, I heard that she'd applied for a job as a school teacher. Didn't fit somehow. Favorite people. Lemuel Shepard, M.D., patched up 2 big holes for me once. One of them a bullet hole in my right leg, and the other in my philosophy of life. Doc Shepard?
Why, Vint. Vint Bonner, you old scallywag. Where'd you come from? Come right in this house. Am I glad to see you? Let me look at you. Ah, you look good, boy. You put on some years, 5, 10, how many?
Well, I don't know exactly.
It doesn't matter. Say, you hungry, huh?
Well, I could eat something.
That's a foolish question to ask. Now sit down, I'll fix you something to eat. Oh, wait a minute. How's the leg?
Oh, it's been all right, hasn't it?
Come on, get the boot off. Let me see it.
All right, Doc, but I tell you, it's perfectly all right.
I didn't do you any favor, son.
What do you mean?
It's a bad scar, clumsy surgery. You shouldn't be able to see that at all.
Look, it's all right. It never bothered me at all. As good as new.
Well, I see what I've got to eat. I ain't got much. People around here are peaceful and prosperous now. They pay in cash. You know, I miss that beef and pork and the grub I used to get paid with. Well, I'll see what I can rustle up, son.
What is it?
Who is this?
I don't know. It's the boy, Vint. He's had a terrible beating.
Someone just drop him here?
Wait, Ben. I'll need your help. I got to get him inside. He might be hurt bad. If anything's broken, I don't want to compound it. It's a wonder he's still alive.
Couldn't he have fallen down a bank or off a cliff or a horse or something?
Ben, I've been treating kids for accidents like that for 30 years. No, siree. This boy was beaten. What kind of person would beat a boy like this?
I don't know. Doc, I found something. Looks like one of those skip rocks we used when we were kids. Got some names on it.
What names?
Mark and Luke.
Mark and Luke? Where'd you get it?
In his pants pocket.
I wonder if one of these is his name. M.A. What's that mean?
Could be Ma for mother.
We better get the sheriff. This boy could be hurt bad internally.
Where'd I most likely find him now?
Check the saloon. If he isn't there, someone will know where he is.
How about it, Mayor?
Nope. I'm pretty sure he doesn't belong to anybody in this town, and I know everyone hereabouts. Sure looks like he took a terrible beating.
That he did.
I don't think anyone around here could have done it. We've had a real quiet town for the last few years.
Vint, you better get some rest. I'll stay up and watch the boy.
I'll do that. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to do some tracking.
Find out anything?
Not much. Few hoof prints. Anyone recognize the boy?
No. Like I said, he's not from hereabouts.
I see. Any change in him?
He's got his eyes open.
You mean he's conscious?
Well, I wouldn't say that. He just stares, almost as though he's in a coma.
I see. Let's have another look at him. Mayor, have you got any idea when your sheriff will be back?
Couldn't be before 3 days, maybe a week.
I see. See you later.
Be home if you need me.
Good. He's coming out of it.
Are you Mark? Are you Luke? Where's your ma?
I wish we was all dead.
All right. All right now.
Poor kid.
Well, I feel better about him now than I did.
Is he going to be all right?
I don't know. But I better get somebody to stay with him.
How is he, Doc? He's better. He'll be all right.
Could he tell you anything?
We didn't try to talk to him much, but we will. We'll find out. Frank, would you ride over to the Widow Crawford's ranch and ask her to come and sit with the boy for a spell?
Yeah, and if any of the ranch folks come to town, send them over here. I want them to have a look at this youngster. I'm going downtown to talk to the mayor. Looks to me like this town needs a lawman. If I say my words just right, maybe he'll deputize me. I'd sure like to get my hands on the man that did this.
If I don't get a nap, I won't be no hootin' good for anything.
I'll see you later.
It ain't like you to go off half-cocked.
Look, Lem, I know I'm not the smartest man in the world, and this is probably none of my business. But every time I look at that boy in there, my stomach turns over. You haven't got any law around here, so I'm going to do something about it. I wouldn't sleep right if I didn't try.
Yeah, but... Yes?
You Vin Bonner?
I'm Vin Bonner.
I'm Eli Edwards. I do some mining. I hear you have a boy here all beat up and hurt.
You heard right.
He's going to be all right?
Probably, but it'll take a long time. He took an awful walloping.
You know anything about it?
No, but I've seen a real strange rig. Real strange.
Where?
Oh, about 6 miles out by Crickeshaw Creek Ford. Looked like a hearse instead of a wagon.
What makes you think it had anything to do with the boy?
Oh, I don't know. It was a real strange rig. I thought I heard a voice, too, singing hymn-like music. Then it stopped. I got kind of curious. So after I ate, it was dark, except for the moonlight. I thought I'd stretch my leg a bit. So I walked over toward the camp, and I got a little close. I couldn't see nobody around. You know, my eyes are not so good. So I got a little closer, and I could see some writing on the wagon. It said, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord." Oh, I was just looking at your wagon. I was curious to see what you had written on it. You see, my eyes are not so good.
You believe what it says?
Huh? Yeah, well, I guess so. Of course, that vengeance business can be overdone, you know.
You laughing at the word of the Lord?
No. Wait a minute. No. Take it easy. I got back to my camp as fast as I could. If he'd have hit me with that whip of his, he'd have cut me half in two. I don't mind telling you, I ain't never been so scared in all my life. He must have got out in the middle of the night. Of course, the next morning, I looked around.
Did you see anything?
Yes, I saw a grave. Fresh dug.
Say, Doc, what would you say he was beaten with?
How do you mean?
I mean, a stick or a fist?
Oh, I see what you're driving at. I'd say it was something heavy, soft on the outside that wouldn't scratch or cut.
Like maybe the leather-wrapped handle of a bullwhip?
The leather-wrapped handle of a bullwhip. Yeah, that'll do it.
Should be around here someplace.
The old miner said it was at the foot of some big rocks.
Should be those over there, maybe. Hey, look to the left, under the trees. Come on. Well, there's the other name, Doc.
Yeah?
Luke.
Same as on the rock. What's it mean, Vint?
I wish I knew. All I know is it's got some connection.
Well, there's only one thing to do. Open up the grave.
Can't do that.
I'm deputy coroner of this county. I got the authority.
All right. Looks like we'll have to use our hands. See if we can find a couple of sharp sticks.
That's all there is there.
Nothing but hard ground under that.
What do you figure it means, Vint?
Can't mean but one thing. Someone wants to convince somebody else that Luke, if that's the boy, is dead and buried here.
Wish I could go with you, Vint, but I better get back to that boy. Now, you be careful.
I'll take care. If the sheriff shows up, point him in this direction, will you? I'll leave some sort of sign.
I'll do that. Now, goodbye, Vint.
None of this made much sense. An empty grave, a strange story about a stranger man told by a little old prospector. One thing I did know. A young boy had been beaten half to death. And I was going to find the man who'd done it.
water off the back of the wagon, woman. You, boy, tell me again how deep you buried him.
About 3 or 4 feet, Pa. Just like I said.
Still can't see what took you so long, or why you needed a horse.
The ground was real hard, Pa. It was too heavy to carry far.
And the Lord commanded Abraham to bring as a living sacrifice his own son.
I couldn't be too sure, but I guessed it had about a 12-mile start. If I was going to catch up by nightfall, I'd have to take a chance and try shortcuts. That wagon would have to stick to the low ground between the ridges. Scar and I could cross them. That had to be his camp. There wouldn't be anyone in this country except Indians, and they wouldn't be that careless with the smoke. From the distance, I guessed I'd make it just after nightfall.
We will now have our lesson for the evening. The Lord thy God is a jealous God. He shall put an enmity between thee and woman. He shall multiply thy sorrow. Cursed is the ground for his sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. God knows the wickedness of man, and that the thoughts of his heart are only evil. He will bruise thy head.
I could have sworn I heard something that sounded like preaching. Looked like a peaceable family having a peaceable meal. Threw me some. The wind in these hills plays funny tricks with the sounds of the night.
Want to eat, woman? You two, Mark. 2 lashes each tonight. It's not so bad. For the good of your soul.
Why? I don't understand why.
I don't know quite why, but I decided to do something I'd seen animals do. Pretend I was hurt.
Hello. Stay where you are, stranger. Who are you? What do you want?
My name's Bonner. I saw the smoke from your fire. Thought I'd find some company. My horse threw me this morning. Don't mean to intrude, but if you'd let me use your fire, I could heat up some food. I guess being on the trail alone for a few days gives a man funny fancies. I could have sworn I heard something that sounded like preaching when I was coming up the valley down there.
That was my voice. I carry the word of God.
Oh. Well, I'm not going out of my head anyway. Sure didn't figure to run into a preacher on the trail.
I'm not a preacher. I'm God's own man.
Yeah. Well, it didn't sound exactly like regular preaching. Of course, you couldn't tell by me. It's been a long time since I was in church.
I, too, was a lost soul. I, my family, until the word come to me.
When was this?
It was during the war, in which we killed and were killed. It was Antietam, Chickamauga, Gettysburg. It was when the ground was soaked with blood. It was when the hounds of heaven was let loose. It was then that God told me I was his man. And I was to be the instrument of his vengeance and his pain. We're all born to sin. We die in sin. And the only trial of man is pain. More pain.
Sounds right interesting. Though I don't recall the Bible saying it just that way.
Didn't I tell you I was God's own man? I'm above the Bible.
I wondered if it'd be too much trouble if I'd bed down over here tonight. Maybe we could continue this talk tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd say that was all right.
Much obliged. I'll just bed down over here in the trees. Firelight keeps me awake. Good night. Was it you that dumped him on the doctor's porch, all beaten up? Answer me. Then it must have been you that buried the log. Would you and your mother like to get out of this? that thing.
I am the Lord God Jehovah. I am the...
I've lived too close to nature all my life not to know that there's a divine spirit. And I've never seen in nature the cruelty and madness that sometimes comes out in man himself. Well, Scar, here we go through 10 Mile Canyon again. 10 miles of cliffs no more than 50 feet apart. Oh, there's nothing to feel squeamish about. Besides, it's the only way to get to Smoke Falls. Don't you spook on me.
Shooting at? Vint! Vint Bonner!
Well, I'll be.
All right. Put that cannon away.
Art, who you gunning for?
I'm sorry, Vin. It was the sheriff.
Sheriff? Looks like I nicked you. Let me take a look at it.
All right, now, but hurry it up, because that sheriff's going to be coming here with a posse from Smoke Falls.
Hold still.
I'm in real deep trouble, Vin.
Well, it won't help none to panic.
Can't run no more. Horse is going lame. You're out of grub.
Yeah, your arm's gonna be all right. Just took away a little meat.
Thank you.
Now, what's all this about? You in a shooting scrape?
I wish that's all it was. Clyde's dead.
Clyde?
Shot in the back.
Who shot him?
Sheriff Vale says I did it.
You kill your own brother?
Half-brother, Vint. Not that it makes much difference. The sheriff's after me just the same.
Vale, he must be new since I was around.
Well, you don't know what it was like yesterday. Took me down there to the jail. There's a gang of them hanging around listening to George Willis tell how I was a rat, and the sooner they find a rope, the better.
George Willis? I always figured him for decent enough sort.
Me too. Until we both started seeing Nadine Gray. For a while there, it seemed like she liked me better than she liked George. Did you hear that?
You're imagining things. Now, let's take this from the start. Why does the sheriff want to arrest you?
He's got to arrest somebody. George claims he saw me do it. If only I could wait till they cool down some. Vin, if you was to ride down there and meet that posse,
Make them see my side of it. Well, they'll respect you, Vint. They'd have to hear you out.
I've only heard your side of it.
I wouldn't lie to you, Vint. Look, I'll meet you 4 miles down the canyon at Squirrel Rock. Noon tomorrow. And I'll give myself up no matter what. All I'm asking for is a fair trial.
All right. Squirrel Rock, noon tomorrow. I'll see what I can do about that posse.
Well, I'll be dogged.
Howdy, Sam.
You know this man, Sam?
Do I know him? Why, this here's Vint Bonner. We worked side by side at the Bar Triangle 3-4 years ago. What you doing down this way?
Came down to look at some of that cattle your boss wants to sell.
Did you see anybody when you came through the canyon?
Only Art Hemper.
Doggone it, Vint. That's the one we're looking for.
Yes, I know. You want him for murder.
You knew that and you let him ride on. What kind of a citizen are you, Bonner?
You could have brought him in to save the sheriff the trouble, you know.
I've known this youngster a long time, Sheriff. He says he didn't kill his brother.
He says he didn't, and I got enough against him to hang him twice over. Do you think I'm out after him for the fun of it?
All he wants is a trial. That's not too much for any man to ask.
He'll get a trial, all right.
He was hoping it'd be a fair one. So long, Sam.
Vint Bonner.
Howdy, George.
Paying the old town a visit, huh? And he sure picked a time for it. Right in the middle of the most excitement we've had in months.
Yes, I know. I ran into the sheriff and his boys a ways back.
Oh, then you know about Art Hemper, huh? Yeah, too bad to see an old friend go to pieces the way Art has.
Most of us would if we were up against a murder charge.
No, that's not what I mean. Truth is, Art's been on the downgrade for the last couple of years.
That is too bad. I always kind of liked the kid.
Well, if you'd lived here and seen it happen day by day, you'd understand. Ever since his pa died, he's been getting worse. Drinking too much, keeping whatever troubled him locked up inside. And all of a sudden he blows up. Too bad Clyde had to get the full force of it.
Are you saying definitely that he shot Clyde?
I sure am. You remember Nadine? Well, she's Mrs. Willis now. Well, I met her riding into town early yesterday morning. You know how women are. She was on her way to buy another new dress.
I thought it'd be all right to ride into town. I hear they've got some new dress material at the general store.
Not another dress, Nadine.
I just thought I'd look, George.
Honey, you do more than look. Buy the best they got. You're the wife of an up-and-coming rancher now. I'll meet you at your sister's place after I finish my business at the bank. You see that? You see what Art Hemper's just done? And we better get out of here before we get killed, too. Hey, come on, hey.
You got to town and reported to Vale.
I sure did. I left Nadine with her sister and joined the posse. It's a sad thing, Bet. I'm sorry it had to happen.
I think I know just how you feel, George. I'd heard Art's side of the killing, and now I'd listen to George's. I made a stop at Nadine's sister's place, but Nadine was out. I left word I'd be back, and that's when I got the idea of talking to Tom Yancey.
Hello, Mr. Yancey.
Vint Bonner. Come right on in. Come right in. The gate's open.
How have you been?
Fine, fine. And what brings you into Smoke Falls, Vint?
Well, I came in to look at some Bar Triangle cattle.
Fine. We'll be glad to handle any deal for you.
That's not what I want to talk about right now, though. Came to talk about Art Hemper.
What about him?
He says he didn't kill Clyde.
I never did associate him with the regular killing kind.
Looks like we're in the minority, Judge.
You know, old man Hemper married again after Art's mother died. That's how Clyde came into the family. You know, it seems that old man Hemper was doomed to have bad luck with his wives. This new one died on him about 2 years ago.
What I had in mind were motives. It sure would help Art a lot if there were no reason for him to kill Clyde.
I'm afraid Art had every reason to kill Clyde.
How's that?
Well, the old man left the whole thing to Clyde. Lock, stock, and barrel. Art was out in the cold without a nickel to his name.
You sure?
Well, I was there when they read the will. I took Art aside and told him I felt the whole thing was grossly unfair. Do you know what his answer was?
What?
He said his father owned the property. And he had a right to dispose of it any way he saw fit. I found out afterwards he stayed in town and got drunk.
How was Clyde about this?
Pleased. And to give him credit, embarrassed.
Not embarrassed enough to do anything about it, though.
Oh, he gave Art a lot of talk about how a piece of paper didn't change things between brothers. It was Art's home, and everything would be the same as it was before.
Well, much obliged, Mr. Yancey. It might help Art if you'd remember all this so you could tell it in court.
Well, Mr. Bonner.
I hope I'm not intruding, Mrs. Willis.
Well, I know it's a pleasure to see you again in Smoke Falls. I don't suppose you remember, but most of the girls here had a crush on you.
That just shows you what a fellow can miss.
Won't you sit down?
Thank you. I suppose you're wondering why I'm here.
You want to talk about Art Hemper?
Yes. George told me you witnessed the shooting.
I did. But since I'm married to George, he speaks for both of us.
Well, I have no reason to pry. I just thought I might be able to help Art.
I guess just about everybody in town is against him.
It wouldn't do any harm for you to talk. You'll have to say something at the trial anyway.
All right. But first, you ought to know that Art and I went together for a while.
He told me that.
Oh. We were very fond of each other. We even figured on getting married. And then all of a sudden, everything just came to an end.
You don't have to talk about that unless you want to.
I started keeping steady company with George.
Didn't Art turn up again?
No. I'd hear about him occasionally from friends. George never liked that, though, whenever Art's name was mentioned.
What are you doing here?
I'm on my way to town.
You have to go by Art's place to get there?
Sure. It's the shorter way. You know that as well as I do.
Maybe you think I don't know what's going on in your mind. Anybody even mentions Art's name and your eyes light up like somebody built a fire behind him.
That's a rotten thing to say just because he's an old friend.
Seems to me he was a little more than an old friend. You were in love with him, weren't you?
All right. I was in love with him. But I married you, didn't I?
Then it's high time you stop mooning over him. Seems to me like a husband's got a right to expect loyalty from his wife.
And just what do you think you've had?
Oh, listen, Nadine, I don't want to quarrel with you. All I want's the truth.
That's what I've been telling you, the truth. I'm on my way to town. I hear they've got some new dress material at the general store.
Not another dress, Nadine.
I just thought I'd look, George.
Honey, you do more than look. Buy the best they got. You're the wife of an up-and-coming rancher now. I'll meet you at your sister's place after I finish my business at the bank. You see what Art Hemper's just done? We better get out of here before we get killed, too. Hey, hey!
I reckon you know the rest of it. George asked me to wait here and then went to join the posse.
Then you actually didn't see Art shoot Clyde.
No. I told you all I saw.
And as far as you know, it could have been someone hiding somewhere around the barn.
If anything, it looked to me like he was trying to help him.
One more thing. Was there any talk of a lynching?
My husband was one of those most in favor of it.
I see. I'll be moving along.
Mr. Bonner?
Yes, ma'am?
I don't want you to get any wrong ideas. I'm a respectable woman. And I'm loyal to the man I married.
Yes, ma'am. In a day's time, I'd learned a lot about Art Hemper and a few other people. But I was as far from the truth as ever. Then it came to me that the answer was probably with Art himself. If he kept that appointment at Squirrel Rock, it would be a pretty good sign he was innocent.
You're right on time, Vint.
So are you, Art. I don't mind telling you I'm glad of it.
And get them hands up high. Get them up.
You know something? You just answered a question that's been bothering me a lot.
Don't you try nothing, Vint. Sheriff's gang's just up the canyon looking for me any time now. They're apt to find my back trail and follow it here.
Sheriff Vale's no fool. He's got guards at both ends of the canyon.
That won't stop us.
Us?
We're riding out of here together. I'm gonna be your prisoner. You take that gun, you keep it on me. Now make it look good. Because mine's gonna be right here under my coat. Aimed at your belly.
You'd be smart if you gave yourself up. If you killed Clyde, there's what the court calls extenuating circumstances.
They'd still hang me, and you know it. Okay, let's get going. Soon we'll be out of this canyon. I'll be a free man for the first time in my life.
You're wrong, Art. Clyde's gonna be between you and any freedom.
You think I'll give him a second thought? I hated him.
Could be you hated the wrong man. He didn't take the ranch from you. He only took what was given to him. Your own father did that.
Paul was all right. Till Clyde and his mom moved in. That's when the trouble started.
What trouble?
The two of them ganged up on me. The very first day. Everything I did was wrong. They poisoned Pa, so he was against me.
Maybe you didn't give them a chance.
I did. Figured we was even up. He had a ma. I had a pa. Guess the real trouble came when she died. I didn't care much. She never had a kind word from me, never once. Well, I didn't understand. Seems from that day on he cared more for Clyde than he did for me. I never knew how much more until he died and Clyde inherited everything. I had nothing. Clyde never gave me nothing. That's how this whole thing started. I needed some money. I went to Clyde and asked him for it. Remember that day I was in the fields working on the fences? Clyde was out in the barn currying the horses. Clyde, I've been figuring going into town. How about let me have some money?
Thought I told you to fix those fences between the pasture and the alfalfa.
I did yesterday.
And you done a mighty poor job. I was out there not an hour ago, and they're all busted down again.
Must be a new break, then.
New break, nothing.
All right, I'll fix them tomorrow. Look, all I'm asking for is $5.
By tomorrow, them cows will have all the alfalfa torn up. You're gonna ride out there now. And you better do a decent job this time.
I done a decent job. Now, you think you can do any better? Go ahead. Ain't no law says you can't fix fences same as me.
Who you think you are you can talk like that? I give you free grub, a roof over your head?
And I try to do my part. All right, I'll fix them fences now.
You bet you'll fix them.
Now, how about the money?
I'll see about it.
Look, Clyde, a man can't go on and on like this without a cent in his jeans. Now, can't you give me the money now?
If you want money, you gotta work for it. I wouldn't mind paying a little extra to a good hand.
I am a good hand, and you know it. Anybody else will give me 30 a month on top of living.
Ain't a week goes by, but I don't turn away better hands than you. All of them willing to work for keep. Art, if you don't like it around here, you can shove off any time.
You're real anxious to get rid of me, ain't you? You're soft so Pa till you got what belonged to me.
Don't think Pa didn't have you sized up. He knew who deserved the place and who didn't. Now you get along and fix them fences, you hear?
All right, Clyde. I guess I ain't got no choice.
Get!
Sure. But tonight you're gonna be asleep, and I ain't gonna be able to ask you, and I want to go to town. Look, Clyde, I'm begging you. Give me the 5, please.
I told you. I ain't paying for no drunken sprees. Now get!
You ain't gonna treat me this way no more.
I'll treat you any way I like. And you want to know why? Because you ain't no earthly good. Why do you suppose Nadine married George instead of you?
Don't you bring her name into this.
She was just playing at love with you. When it come to settling down, she picked herself a man. Now you get to work or I'll run you clean off the place.
Maybe you can see what Clyde done to me.
Not enough to kill him.
Not enough. Stole my Pa. Made me lose Nadine. They ain't no use trying to make you see. Vin, don't you understand? How could I ask Nadine to marry me when I had nothing and Clyde had it all? Oh. There's George Willis. He's even worse than Clyde was. Never missed a chance to poke fun at me in town. Make a fool out of me in front of Nadine. He already had her. What more do you want? And I got my gun on you. All right. Let's go.
See, you got him, Bent. Where's the sheriff?
He'll be along in a little while.
And I'll take over for him.
They all said Bonus to take me in.
We'll take good care of you, Art. Did you ever see a man hung, kicking and fighting for breath?
George.
His face turning purple?
I'll take care of him. You go get a doctor.
Ben?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's all right, kid.
Ben. When it happens, that rope, I'm scared. You be there.
I'll be there. Well, he was lucky in one way. He didn't have to face the rope. Who would you say was to blame? Old man Hemper? Clyde? His mother? George? Nadine? Who knows how many others? They all had a hand in making Art what he was. A man just doesn't turn into a killer all by himself. this was Hornitas Town. A lily pure mining camp where nobody gets killed, robbed, or even roughed up. My friend Marshall Murray at Sacramento had asked me to look into the matter. This I had to see.
Buenos días, señor.
Buenos dias. Could I have some coffee?
Sí, señor.
Thank you.
Anything else, senores?
Just a check. Look here, Miss Hobbs.
What now, Sheriff Riker?
You better tell that gal of yours to be nicer to the customers. The way she acts, she could ruin a man's appetite.
Well, I noticed that you all finished your breakfast.
Huh? Well, put them on my bill.
When are you going to pay up?
Pay up? What do you call protection for your business?
Well, you got law and order.
Sheriff, Joe Crockett's back in town.
He won't be for long.
Out of town, Crockett. Out of town.
Boss Cafe, senor?
No, thanks. Just a check. Tell me something about your boss.
Miss Amity? She's a very sensible young lady, senor. But she lived by the good book.
Good morning, Miss Amity. My name is Bonner.
Good morning. What can I do for you?
I'm a friend of Marshall Murray's in Sacramento. He asked me to drop by. How long has this been going on?
Too long. Some night somebody going to fix Sheriff Riedker.
Rosita, that is not the way of the Lord.
Madre mia, always the good book. She is one sweet angel, senor. But how are you going to fight Big Devil with one little angel?
Looks like what you need is a change in the office of sheriff. I think Marshall Murray would approve.
Rosita, watch the door.
See.
If you can help us, this is all yours.
Come again?
Well, there's $500 here contributed by the citizens and merchants of Hornitas, payable at my discretion.
You mean you want me to wrestle Hornitas from the devil?
Do you think you can help us?
Miss Amity, for $500, you just bought yourself a new angel.
Oh, just a moment. May I have your gun, please?
Huh?
Well, I don't hold with violence and bloodshed. It's against my principles.
Well, what have your principles got to do with my gun?
Oh, I'm afraid it must be expressly understood that you're not to kill any man, or even hurt any man, except in your own self-defense.
Miss Amity, with me, it's always self-defense.
Well, just to make sure, and to guard you against temptation, leave your gun with me.
You want me to go out into that town without a gun?
The harder the victory, the greater the glory.
Oh.
Hey, me hace. The good book.
You hold it. I'd have swore I'd never do this even for my own mother.
I'm sure your mother would approve. You're a good boy, Mr. Bonner. Oh, would you be our guest at dinner?
Thank you, ma'am. Providing I'm still able to eat. Well, maybe she's got something, Scar. Maybe if a man used his brains, he wouldn't have to use bullets. Let's give it a try. What do you think you're bumping? No. My mistake. Morning, Tony.
What's this I hear about how you beat up a man that comes to town to see the doctor? Maybe buy a few drinks afterwards.
Crockett asked for it. I already want him to stay out of town.
And every time you do that, I lose a customer. Why do you have to be such a stupid ox?
Who you call a stupid ox? It wasn't for me.
Take your hands off me.
Listen, amigo. You run this saloon and your crooked card games. Don't you ever forget who runs this town.
You're new here. Yeah, just passing through. I'm Sheriff Riker.
Who are you?
My name's Bonner.
Now, you ain't related to Vint Bonner.
Never heard of him. My name's Joe Bonner.
Don't matter. I notice you ain't toting a gun. How come?
Well, let's just say it's moral principles.
Moral what?
Well, believe it or not, Sheriff Riker, there's some people that don't hold with toting a gun.
Yeah, well, back east they're safe, but you take a tough gold camp like Hornitas. Any man who can't protect his life and property, he better buy himself some protection.
Oh. And if he bought himself some protection, how much would it cost?
Well, I'll make you a special rate. Only $25 a day.
It's pretty special. Isn't it a little steep?
It's life insurance. For instance, if I was to get tough with you right now and pull a gun, was to tell you to take out your wallet, what would you do?
I'd take out my wallet. 25.
That's all.
Just a minute. Does this guarantee to protect me no matter what happens, or what trouble I get into?
Best protection money can buy. For the rest of the day. Oh, I forgot to mention. My day's over at sundown. Now, nights get real rough. Then we'll make a new deal.
You're pretty smart, Sheriff.
Smart enough.
I bet you play a good hand of poker.
No, I happen to have time for a few hands right now. Come on. Maybe you can win back your money.
All right.
Tony Molinar, Joe Bonner.
Mr. Molinar?
Mr. Bonner's interested in a little game.
Glad to have you, Mr. Bonner.
Much obliged.
That last card, Bonner. You dealt it from the bottom.
I always deal myself an ace from the bottom. Especially while I'm dealing with your marked deck.
Marked deck?
They're readers. Pick up your hand. You've got kings and jacks, a pair of each.
They are marked. How about it, Molinar? I make a suggestion, Bonner. I suggest you give us back our money.
Nothing doing. Sheriff, how about my protection?
Till sundown, then the rate goes up. $100.
50?
75. Okay. Pick up your win.
I warn you.
Why don't you put that away before you hurt yourself?
Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Hold it!
Some of that's my money. I want it.
Just because you bulled your way into a crooked poker game?
Come across, Chinhorn.
Sheriff. All right, get him out of town. I don't want to see him around.
Now, see how it paid to have protection?
Yeah, Sheriff, you got a nice system. Good organization, too. That sheriff of yours is as crooked as a corkscrew. Fortunately, the saloon keeper's just as bad.
Fortunately.
Sure. Remember in the good book where it said the men of Gideon got their enemies to fighting among themselves?
And then just sat themselves down to watch the battle. But, wouldn't that be promoting violence?
Well, I don't recall reading where anyone was punished for using their brains. Not that I guarantee results.
Everything is possible, if you have faith.
Firearms have been known to help. Well, I admire your principles, but I'll try not to die for them.
Let that horse alone.
It's my horse.
It used to be. Belongs to Mr. Molinar now.
Glad to see you on the job, Sheriff. Arrest this man. He stole my horse.
You stole my money, I stole your horse. Now we're even.
I paid for protection for my life and property, didn't I, Sheriff?
I made a deal with you, but I don't recollect none with your horse.
What do you think of our sheriff now? Very efficient, isn't he?
Very efficient. For a double-crosser.
Fighting words, mister.
I want the protection I paid for.
You got it. At my expense.
I've had enough out of you. What's more, I'm fining you for disturbing the peace. That ought to do it. You ought to be glad to get that back. Now, there's a stage leaving for Sacramento at 4 o'clock. You better be on it. Now, make yourself scarce. You don't keep your trap shut, I'll fine you, too.
Mr. Bonner, you're back very soon. Is there anything wrong?
Oh, nothing much. Just my horse has been stolen. I've been robbed, given the bum's rush, and I want my gun back.
You've forgotten our agreement.
Look, the sheriff called off his agreement with me, and I'm calling off mine with you. My gun, please.
Then you weren't sincere.
Miss Amity, I believe in the good book as much as the next fella, and I respect your principles. But they've taken my horse and all my gear and told me to get out of town on the 4 o'clock stage, so give me my gun!
All right. Your gun will go with you on the stage. In the express box.
For a lady who doesn't like violence, you're sure asking for a spanking.
Mr. Bonner, you would do well to remember the men of Gideon.
Miss Amity, Gideon. Hi, old timer. Look, I'll give you $50 for that equalizer.
$50?
That's right.
Sorry, son, but money can't buy it. In this camp, a man needs life insurance.
Men of Gideon.
Get out. Nobody's allowed in here.
I'm already in.
What do you want?
My horse. Don't get me wrong. I'm willing to pay. He left me a little over $200.
You value your horse very high.
Well, he's more than just transportation. He's more like my next of kin.
I wonder how my friend the sheriff would feel about me making a deal with you.
Your friend? Don't make me laugh. There's no love lost between you two. You don't like him any better than I do.
No, he's not a very likable fellow, but his fists, they command respect.
Not to me.
You're not afraid of him?
I'd take him on if I had a good reason.
Such as your horse?
That would be a good reason. Of course, I haven't got a gun. I'd need backing up. How about it?
All right, it's a deal. It's not very big. But I always hit the man I aim for.
You're catching that Sacramento stage right here. Now go sit down and wait for it. Keep an eye on him, boys. Miss Amity, may I please have the package?
Just as soon as you get to Sacramento. It's addressed to you there, care of Marshal Murray.
But even David was allowed a slingshot.
It is written, he who lives by the sword shall perish by the sword.
For the last time.
It is no use, senor. To argue with her is to argue with a rock.
So right. She could be such a nice girl if she just weren't so blamed stubborn. Oh, look, Bonner! What are you trying to do? Rob the lady?
Thank you, Sheriff.
You're welcome, miss. Now sit there. Mind your manners. Mine. What are you looking so cheerful about it?
Am I? About time for the stage, isn't it?
And that tin horn's gonna be on it.
What if he objects?
I'll put him on myself. In person.
It's an excellent idea.
Would you please put this in the express box for me right away? That should more than cover the charges. Keep the change. Thank you. Well, goodbye, Mr. Bonner. And peace go with you.
Thank you. For how long? Hey, you. Get a move on. Move. Okay, drag it away. Now, wait a minute, Sheriff. You wouldn't shoot an unarmed man. Not in front of all these people, anyway. Would you? I'm gonna show you. After I get through with you, you're going to be real sorry you ever came to Hornitas.
I know he's your duly elected sheriff, but as far as I'm concerned, he's a yellow-bellied skunk. The kind of a man who would hit a man when his back is turned. See what I mean? Here, I'll give you a hand. He's pretty awkward, too. Soft in the middle. Too much beer. You know better than to kick people. I bet you 2-1 he's got a glass jaw. Now, if you want to stay up when you stand up, you turn in that badge. He who lives by the sword.
Well, I'm glad you're early. You're going to have a really fine supper.
Well, I'm afraid I can't stay.
Oh?
Sheriff Riker's deputies just left town. You and the rest of the folks can go about the business of electing a new sheriff now.
Can't you stay and tell them yourself?
I have to catch up with my gun. That is, if it's all right with you.
But you will try and remember the men of Gideon.
I'll try, Miss Amity. But good doesn't always triumph over evil. Sometimes it needs a little extra push.
I know I gave you a hard task, but I can't change what I believe.
And like the leopard in the Bible, I guess I can't change my spots. You're a nice girl.
Madre mia, the best hombre you ever meet in all your days, and you let him get away. Go after him.
No, Rosita. He said it himself. He's not for me.
Close to 6 months, I'd been working at the Lonely Oak Ranch, lending my friend Jim Blackwell a hand. I don't generally stay in one place that long, but Jim had been sick. Real sick.
Afternoon, Vent.
Howdy, Sheriff.
How have you been? Hardly ever see you in town anymore.
Well, I don't get to town much since the old man's been under the weather.
Oh, yeah. How's old Jim feeling?
No better. And the doctor says he's not going to get any better.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Say, any sign of the Sacramento stage yet?
No, but ought to be along any minute. Why?
Jim Blackwell's daughter is on it.
Vin, what are you talking about? Jim doesn't have any family.
He did have a while back. Well, it was a long time ago when Jim was just a ranch hand.
Only his wife didn't like ranches, so one day she packed up, took the youngster, and lit out for Sacramento.
How much do you figure old Blackwell is worth now?
He's got a fine herd of cattle, nice spread, and money in the bank.
Well, there's the stage.
Not much of a town, is it?
Not after a state capital.
Maybe you'll let me try and make it more interesting for you.
Now, that's an interesting offer. But someone's coming in to meet me, Mr. Bonner.
Miss Blackwell? I'm Vint Bonner.
Oh? Well, how do you do?
Well, I see you're in good hands. I'll say good day, Miss Blackwell.
Is he a friend of yours?
We met on the stagecoach.
I'll get you things.
How far is it to the ranch?
Mile and a half or so.
It's a quiet little town, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You weren't looking for excitement, were you?
No, Mr. Bonner. I wasn't looking for excitement. You're, my father's foreman, aren't you?
I've been working for him for a while.
For the last 6 months.
That's right. How did you know?
He wrote me about you. How is he? Any change?
No change. The doctor says he has a few more days.
I see.
I'll help you in the wagon. I was wondering when you're going to get around to asking about him.
I think that's being pretty hateful, Mr. Bonner.
It's Blackwell. Jim's a friend of mine from a long time back. I just think he ought to know for certain who's coming to see him.
I'm his daughter.
So you said in the letter. But for 20 years, you didn't show much sign of it.
I didn't know where he was.
But now you know.
Look, I didn't come all the way up here to listen to a cowhand insult me.
I'm not trying to insult anyone. I'm just being cautious.
Well, look, I'm Mary Blackwell, a legal heir, and I can prove it. And don't give me any trouble. You'd be surprised how well I can take care of myself.
Jim. You took long enough to get back.
I'm sorry, Jim.
But where is she? Did she get here? Is she? Oh. You look a lot like your ma. 20 years I had to wait to see you. 20 years.
I have a picture of my mother. Would you like to see it?
Oh, yes.
It was taken just before she died.
Yes, that's Janie. She was a fine-looking woman. Oh,
Oh, Mary, Mary. I'm sorry about all those years.
I know. But we're together now.
Well, I was sure glad to get your letter. I've been a lonely man, Mary.
I tried to find you before. I didn't know you'd settled down. Done so well.
Yes. We've got a lot to talk over, ain't we?
Yes.
Not much time to do it.
Oh. Now, don't talk that way.
Oh, but it's true. You don't have to get soft with me. I'm a tough, hard old man, Mary. Not easy to get along with at all. Your ma found that out.
Now, don't.
Patron, you must rest. Later you will talk.
Yeah. I'm all right. I'm all right.
I owe you an apology.
Yes, I guess you do.
I won't give you any more trouble. Hi, Sam. I think I'll take a drink.
Hello. Mr. Bonner.
I thought you were with Jim.
He fell asleep. So I saddled a horse and came on in.
Your place is out at the ranch right now.
You want me to stay there all the time? I talked to him all afternoon.
Bonner, the young lady and I are having a peaceable talk. Name's Steve Colby.
I know you, Colby. You're going home.
Listen, you big ox, you don't run my life, understand?
You're going home.
Hey!
Look, I said she's... I wouldn't do that.
Look, Bonner, maybe you can boss those ranch hands around, but not me.
Keep your voice down.
I can take care of myself.
You're sure doing a great job of it. The first man you pick up with is a cheap outlaw that spent half his life in jail.
Steve Colby.
Now you go on upstairs and you get some sleep.
Vint, that you? Come in here.
Good night.
Jim, you know the doctor said you shouldn't smoke these.
Never mind the doctor. You tend to your own health. What's all the ruckus? You having trouble with that girl?
Well, she's a little tough, kind of headstrong. She's your daughter for sure.
My daughter. Is she the only girl that got off that stage this morning?
Why?
Why? Why, you thick-headed cowpoke. That's the wrong girl.
Are you sure?
No, she had me fooled for a while. But I've talked to her a lot more since. I've tripped her up on at least a dozen things, and she didn't even know it.
But the locket she showed you, that was a picture of your wife, wasn't it?
You're dang right it was, and that's what I'm worried about. How'd that girl come to get it? And what's she up to?
Jim, it's been a long time. She was just a child when you saw her last. You could be mistaken.
Who's mistaken? I tell you, that's the wrong girl. Now, look at here. You find out who she is. Oh, quiet down. Go on, son. Go on now. You find out who that girl is.
Never get anything done here unless I do it myself.
In spite of what Jim had told me, the next morning I could tell it wasn't going to be easy to get at the truth. I tried to talk to the girl, but she was always busy. Busy being helpful. Jim tried to get something out of her, but she spent the whole day acting like a loving daughter. By the time I'd finished working around the ranch, she'd even decided to let up on me.
Mr. Bonner? Vint? Well, can't I call you Vint?
Sure.
I want to talk to you. You've been acting so strange today. So has my father. Could you tell me what it's all about?
We can talk later.
If you'd rather, but there seems so little time left, and I'd like my father to love me. If he can. You still don't trust me, do you? I don't want you to be cold toward me or distant. Not either of you. Can't you stay and talk?
I better go see Jim. How do you feel, Jim?
How do you think I feel?
Jim, are you still sure about that girl?
Yeah, surer than ever.
But she seems straight enough, and she even seems fond of you.
Fond of me? Well, anybody'd be fond of me to get this ranch. And I ain't very easy to get fond of. She ain't the right kind of girl. My wife was a lady, and her daughter'd be a lady. This one ain't no lady. Not clean through. Can't you tell?
Well, I thought she was a little strange, but...
She don't know enough of the facts, Bint, about Janie and about me.
Well, it's a long time, Jim. What facts could she know?
I used to hear from Janie. She'd write and tell me how things were going and what a fine town Sacramento was. Yeah. And then I got one letter. Said she'd met a man. Said she'd like to be set free.
Who was he?
Oh, an important lawyer. He was going to be a big man in the legislature one day. Then the last I ever heard from her was telling what a fine wedding they had. That's why I didn't try to get in touch with him again. I wanted her to be happy.
You shouldn't have lost touch with your daughter, Jim.
Oh, she had a lot more than I could give her. Stepfather in line to be governor, maybe. But Vint, this girl didn't know a thing about any of that. I'm worried. I'm afraid something's happened to my Mary.
Easy, Jim.
This woman has come here to get my money. And that money belongs to my Mary, not to that little fake.
You all right?
Yeah. Look, son, you got to find out the truth for me. How she knows what she does know, and how she got that picture.
All right, Jim.
And hurry. Yes, I guess you better hurry.
Miss Blackwell, you out here?
Right here, Vint.
I want to talk to you.
You stay right here. I'll come back as soon as I can. What is it? Is he?
He's just about the same. Who are you?
Who am I?
A man should know his own family. Jim Blackwell says you're no part of his.
So that's what's been eating him. And you too.
You're wasting my time. Who put you up to this?
Don't push her around, Bonner. Everything she told you is true. Now leave her alone.
Colby, from what I've heard of you, you're just the kind to try and swindle a dying old man.
It's not a swindle. She is Blackwell's daughter.
Why is it so hard for you to understand that? Because I'm not what you expected me to be. You want the truth. This is it. I hate every bone in my father's body. And I'm here to tell him so.
Then you are his daughter.
Oh, you bet your sweet life I am. His only kin, and before he dies, he's going to know it. What's so helpless about Jim Blackwell? To tell me that. Oh, he's done for the last 20 years is get meaner and richer. The only thought he ever gave to his family was when he was on his dying bed and I wrote to him.
But you didn't need him. You had your stepfather to take care of you.
Oh, I never had any stepfather.
But Jim said your mother married a lawyer, a man who could have been governor of the state.
Governor of the state? Oh, Steve!
Take it easy, Mary. Janie Blackwell never married again. She died while working in a Sacramento saloon.
But the letters...
I don't know anything about what she wrote him. Maybe she was too proud to tell him the truth, but I'm not. My mother worked in a saloon, and she died in a saloon. That's all the Sacramento she ever knew. That's all I ever knew.
Satisfied, Mr. Bonner?
Colby, go on home.
What for? I'm the one who found Mary's father living here. It's as much my business as anybody's.
I said go on home.
Go on, Steve. I'll see you later.
Make sure you get what's coming to you. It's a lot of money, Mary. Don't get cut out of it.
Well, you still think Jim Blackwell needs protection, Mr. Bonner?
Mary, go upstairs.
Oh, no. Not until I tell him exactly what I told you.
You can't do that.
No? Well, just why do you think I came to this miserable town?
Senor, the patron asked for you. He is very bad.
I'll be right with you.
Well, I'm going in there with you.
No, you're not. The reason he never got in touch with you is he believed those letters.
Senor!
He's been a lonely man.
Did you talk to her?
Yeah, Jim, I talked to her.
Well, what'd you find out?
Nothing for you to worry about,
Don't
Jim.
hedge with me, you big clodhead. Get her in here.
I'm here.
Come in here. We got some talking to do. Sit down.
You feel all right?
No, I'm weak. I'm old and weak, and I'll give out. But I can still talk a little.
I'll bet you can.
Oh, he told you, didn't he? I can see it in your eyes. He told you that I'm on to you.
Yes.
You ought to be proud of yourself, leading me on to believe that you ain't no daughter of mine. Well, are you?
Jim, wait a minute.
I ain't got time to wait. My daughter was a lady. You ain't no lady. You're nothing but a fake.
You're right, Mr. Blackwell. I'm not your daughter.
Vince, you hear that?
It's true. I came here to trick you and to take your money.
How'd you know so much about me? Where'd you get that picture?
Oh. Oh, well, I knew your daughter. Yes, she was a very good friend of mine. She gave it to me.
Well, then, you can give it to me, then. You've got no right to have it. You got no right to touch it. Get it off your neck. Where'd you know my Mary?
In Sacramento. She was a wonderful girl.
I bet there was nothing hard about her eyes.
That's right. She was a lady.
That's a fact. Did you know my Janie, too?
Yes. Yes, I knew your Janie, too. They were both wonderful people. Oh, you know the man that Jenny married? Well, he was always very kind to them, to both of them. He was a very important lawyer.
Yes, that's right. She wrote and told me.
Then after Janie died, why, he took Mary to Europe, I think. Yeah. Yeah, they're over there somewhere now, still living.
That's very far away. Well, if you hear from her, write her about me, will you?
Oh, sure.
And Vint, you see that my Mary gets my money.
Your daughter will get your money, Jim.
Yeah. You're not a very smart young woman, are you? To try to steal from an old man.
No, I guess you're right.
You didn't fool me. Not for long. So I guess I can forgive you.
Well, thank you.
Mary.
I've got to get out of here. Will you drive me into town, Vin?
That was a fine thing you did. It took a lot of courage.
Oh. I only told him what he wanted to hear, that's all. I'll get my things.
You could stay a while. It's your home.
Oh, no. Thank you, Vin, but there's a man waiting for me. The kind of man that I'm used to.
I'll get the buckboard.
Mary. It fell from his hand.
Fletcherville wasn't any gay Paris or anything, but coming off the range, it was buildings and people. Things I'd begun to miss. It was other things, too. Wanted. Dead or alive, Billy Sparks, for murder and mayhem. Well, guess that came along with the town, along with buildings and people.
Get out of here!
Tough, aren't you? Pushing a woman around, that takes some real men.
You're not wanted around this town, Mrs. Sparks. It's time you understood that.
sorry, Mrs. Sparks, but you stay away. All you bring is trouble. Your own Paul won't lift a hand to help you. I can't help you no more, Mrs. Sparks. I can't help you no more either.
You're big, brave men, when all you have to fight are women and boys.
Helen Bricker. You do remember me, don't you?
Vin Bonner.
That's right.
Thanks for speaking to me, Vin.
Thanks for speaking. As bad as all that?
You just saw. Good citizens of Fletcherville don't waste words on Billy Sparks' wife. They won't like the idea of you talking to me either.
You don't think I'd let that bother me, do you?
Maybe it should. You just saw what they did to poor Tommy.
Where are you living now?
Cabin out at the end of town. Was the one my father built when I was a girl, remember?
By the way, how is Strad?
That was him you just saw right off on the horse. It's the first time I've seen him myself since I came back to Fletcherville. He sent word that I could use the cabin. No one was living there anyway. But I wasn't to come near his home or see him for as long as I live. Get up.
Vin Bonner, aren't you?
That's right.
You a friend of Helen's?
I know the Bricker family.
You know Billy Sparks?
I've heard of him. You'd be Dave Fletcher's son.
I was. Before Billy Sparks killed him. Any news yet?
Not yet, Mr. Fletcher.
Jim, what's going on?
Come on inside, man. Dave Fletcher built this town, Vent. Ain't a man, woman, or child in Fletcherville who isn't beholden to him. Billy Sparks shot him down in cold blood.
That explains the poster.
That was over a year ago. Billy held up his bank, that's when it happened. Well, they just caught him a couple of months ago in Junction City. That's where Sheriff Ritter is.
When's the hanging supposed to take place?
This week sometime. The date ain't certain yet. See if you got any mail. No mail, Vince, sorry.
Well, I didn't really expect any. Helen Bricker. I hardly recognized her. And I didn't know her father.
Well, Strad ain't never really been the same. Not since she married Billy. Strad disowned her. That's all there is left of the Brickers, just a father and a daughter. Not one word spoken between them in 7 years.
That's too bad. Well, I'm going to be in town a couple of days. I'll drop by later for my mail.
Now, you be careful, Vint. If I was you, I wouldn't have nothing to do with her. Everyone in this town is dead set against her.
Fletcherville's her home. I guess she's got a right to come back to it.
Put this heel on just didn't know his trade. Ain't no reason for a nail to go through on the inside there if the heel was put on proper. Who made these boots for you anyway, Vint?
Let me see. Come to think about it, I think you did.
Me? You dang well know I didn't. I know my own work. I never turned out a pair of boots like that even when I was apprenticed.
Oh, we can soon find out. Look on the inside of the heel. I think your mark's there.
Hmm? Well, I'll be. How'd that ever get inside there?
Just got the word, Seth. Looks like they're not going to wait very much longer. They're going to string him up today.
Today?
Yeah. What's the matter? You don't look too happy.
What time today?
Sundown. The sheriff's staying over to claim the body for the next of kin. You know who that means. We're meeting out at Joel Fletcher's half hour before sundown.
Why?
You know why. Same time the state's getting rid of one of the Sparks, we'll be getting rid of the other.
How do you plan to do that?
Huh?
How are you going to get rid of the other Sparks?
We figure on letting Joel Fletcher handle that. It's his right. It was his paw Billy Sparks killed.
Seems to me this town's got a good case of lynch fever.
Seems like it's the town's business. None of yours, mister.
Don't get your quills up, Vint. There's just some things you can't do nothing about.
There's some things that need doing something about.
You don't understand, Vint. You're a rolling stone. Me, I'm in business in Fletcherville. So is Jim Pincher. The whole town is Fletcher built and run. I do like Joel tells me, and I get along. People ain't going to forget Dave Fletcher. Even Strad Bricker won't lift a hand for his daughter.
Seems to me I remember once that Joel and Helen Bricker were going to be married.
Yes, that was a long time ago. Two families had it kind of figured that way. Broke her pa's heart she didn't marry Joel. Dave Fletcher saved Strad's ranch once, and he stood to gain before closing, too. Billy Sparks isn't worth a hair of Dave Fletcher.
Well, I'll be back to those boots later.
Vint, we all know you. It ain't a matter of you fighting for Helen. It's who you're fighting against. It's more than Joel. More than just one man. It's a whole town.
Seth, you stick to your last, and I'll stick to mine.
Suppose you heard the news, Bonner. They're hanging Billy Sparks this afternoon.
I heard. I heard something else I didn't like the sound of.
Suppose you just mind your own business.
I should think a whole town against one woman would be anybody's business.
You're not foolish enough to think there's anything you can do about it.
I don't know. But I might be foolish enough to try. You like to play with that thing, don't you?
I know how to use it, too. You might remember that.
I'll remember.
That's good. And while you're remembering, there's just one other thing. Stay away from Helen Bricker.
Here's something for you, too. I don't do business in this town. That's one advantage of being a rolling stone. Helen, you're still young. You could go someplace else, start all over again. You've got your whole life ahead of you. Bitterness and false pride do terrible things to a person.
I'm Strad Bricker's daughter. I can fight just as hard and last as long as he can.
Fight what? And for what? And in the end, what do you gain?
What do I gain? The knowledge that I'm just as strong or stronger than they are.
Oh, you'll have that all right. You'll have that. And then you'll have the battle scars to go with it. All of a sudden you'll be old and lonely, like your father. There's only one thing sadder than a lonely old man.
Then I know what you're trying to do. When I'm ready to change my mind, I'll change it. This is my home. I was born here, and I'm going to stay.
All right. Helen. I didn't want to tell you this. They're hanging your husband today at sundown. And at the same time they're hanging him, your neighbors are planning something for you. I don't know what. I rode out to see Stradbreaker. I didn't know what to expect or just what I would say to him. Maybe Joe Fletcher was right. Maybe I was being a little foolish. But I didn't like him saying it. Live in the same town and don't see each other?
Vint, if you've come here to try to fix things up between us, you're wasting your time.
Well, I know it's none of my business.
I told her he was no good before she married him. I told her, but she knew more than everybody else. She wouldn't listen to me.
I guess it's pretty hard to see a person's faults when you're in love with them.
It had to take a lot to love Billy Sparks. Gun-happy fool. I was on the posse that went after him when he killed Fletcher. I went after my own son-in-law. Every man worth his salt in this town was on that posse. They don't come any better than Dave Fletcher. I owe everything I've got to him.
More than you owe your own daughter?
I haven't got a daughter. I'm not concerned with her anymore.
Yes, you are. You and the whole town are concerned. You're judging her and blaming her for something her husband did.
She doesn't have to stay here.
Oh, I didn't hear her complain. I don't think in all the time I've known the Bricker family I've heard anyone complain.
She's not a Bricker. She's Mrs. Billy Sparks, a murderer's wife. I'd sooner see her horsewhipped than have her called a Bricker.
I think maybe somebody has the idea to do just that.
What?
Joel Fletcher seems kind of handy with that whip he carries.
It's none of my business what he does.
Oh, I don't know. I've known you for a long time, Strad. I don't think you'd feel very good about it if any harm came to Helen.
Harm?
I hear some of the citizens are going to pay a visit to Helen at sundown. At the same time, they're hanging Billy in Junction City.
Ah, it's a lot of talk. Joel's excitable. He doesn't mean any harm. Besides, the sheriff would stop it.
The sheriff will be in Junction City till after the hanging.
Ah, what does she expect? Maybe it'll be all for the best. She doesn't belong in Fletcherville. This isn't her home, not anymore. Besides, if she needed anything, all she ever had to do was to come to me and ask.
You know she wouldn't do that. She's your own daughter.
Then why doesn't she say she's wrong? Why doesn't she come to me and say she's sorry? If she'd ask forgiveness, maybe I'd care what happens to her. Don't you see that, Vint? Then maybe I'd care.
Yeah. Yeah, I see.
Look, I know you're trying to be a friend, but no matter what anybody says or tries to do, I'm not leaving Fletcherville.
You are just as stubborn as your father. Aren't you going to ask me how he is?
I know how he is. He showed me this morning. He showed me plain.
Helen, I think I know you well enough to ask a question. Maybe you didn't know what Billy was like when you married him. But why did you stick with him after he killed Fletcher?
Well, I took vows, Vint.
And he gave you plenty of grounds to break them.
I'm my father's daughter. If I make a bargain or give my word good or bad, I'll stick to it. The sun's going down, Vint.
I understand you could have married Joel Fletcher.
Joel Fletcher? Did you get a good look at him this morning? You think he's any better than Billy? Besides, I wasn't going to be pushed into marriage because my father was beholden to his father.
With Sheriff Ritter away, there's no lawman to protect you, Helen.
Oh, I'm capable of protecting myself. Thanks, Vint. I'll be all right. I have this, and I know how to use it.
Helen.
I'll kill the first person who comes near this cabin. I mean it, Vint. I'm Billy Sparks' wife. A killer's wife, remember?
There's just a chance this town may forget. But if there's any gunplay here today, they never will.
I don't care if they do or don't. I married Billy. Nobody forced me to. I don't expect any favors now.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't think you're going to get any.
I told you to leave before they got here.
Give me that gun. You can get out the back way. I'll stall them.
I never thought I'd hear Vint Bonner tell anyone to run from a fight.
You never saw me walk right into one either. That's a mob out there. Do you know what a mob is? You think it's just a bunch of people? Well, it's not. It's the lowest form of animal.
Well, where do I run, Mr. Bonner? And when do I stop?
Mrs. Sparks? Mrs. Sparks, you here? We're giving you 2 minutes to come out.
I'll give you less than that to get off my property.
Now you stay here.
I don't want you taking my part, Vint.
Those fools out there I'm worried about.
We're coming in.
Staying out.
Get out of the way. This doesn't concern you.
Fletcher, I've seen men stoop pretty low. But what you're leading these men to do makes you kind of special.
This is none of your business, Bonner. I told you that. As for what we're planning, all we're going to do is give Mrs. Sparks a taste of the whip. Enough so she won't show her face in Fletcherville again.
Are you sure that's the reason? Or is it because her name's Mrs. Sparks and not Mrs. Fletcher?
You don't seriously believe that's why we're here?
Don't I? You wouldn't be the first man to lead people into doing things for one reason when the real reason was a hidden one of your own.
You're talking wild, Bonner. Now get out of our way. We're going to let one man tell us what we can do or what we can't do. This is our town, isn't it? Yes. Billy Sparks is dancing on air right now. I say let's get rid of the rest of his rotten family.
Stop! All of you, listen to me. I'll leave your town. Before I go, there's something you ought to know. You said Billy Sparks was dancing on air. You ever think what that must mean to me? All of you. Did you ever think what it was like for me? I had to live with him for 7 years. All right, go ahead. You think you're the only one who knows how to use a whip? Billy Sparks knew how to.
you forgive me, Helen? I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Listen to me. Listen to me, all of you. Just because...
Your father was a good man. Everyone here has cause to know that. But you aren't him or anything like him. If he were here to see this day's work, he'd be ashamed, as I am right now. He'd be ashamed. This town bears his name.
I don't think you're going to get a chance to use that today.
This is all your fault, Bonner. If it hadn't been for you.
You wouldn't have lasted long anyway. People have a habit of finding out tin gods sooner or later.
You're a big man with a gun in your hand.
I'll throw away my gun if you'll do the same with that whip. I'd seen trail towns taken over before. This one was being taken over by Texans. Texans in a Kansas town full of Northerners. And they were letting out all the bitterness stored up since Lee surrendered at Appomattox. I was in Prairie City to pay respects to the daughter of an old friend, Mark Wilmer. There'd always been a room at his hotel for me, whether I had money in my jeans or not, and he talked my kind of language. I'd heard Mark Wilmer had died. I was curious about his daughter, Sophie, who'd never had much use for this ragged, sad-looking cow town.
This part of town is no place for decent people.
Decent people? Don't you mean cowards, Mr. Vesper?
Sophie. Sophie. Say, what happened to law and order in your town?
Our respectable citizens won't show their faces this side of the railroad tracks. And suddenly, Sheriff Wiley found business elsewhere.
Mr. Bonner, maybe you could persuade Miss Sophie to
Mr.
leave.
Vespers, why don't you go inside? I'm sure you'll feel safer in there.
But,
I was sorry to hear about your father, Sophie.
He thought a lot of you. I'm glad you came by. I might never have seen you again.
I see by the sign you're planning to leave town.
Can you blame me? My father helped settle this town. He planted all of his dreams in its future. You can see what's happened to it. So I'm leaving it to the scorpions and centipedes to take over after outfits like Colonel Bromley's are through with it.
That Colonel Bromley? Well, there was nothing wrong with your father's dream, Sophie. Towns like this that can stay through times like this have a big future.
You sound like my father.
I take that as a compliment.
Oh, Vint, do you realize that except for 2 years in St. Louis, I've never set foot out of Prairie City? I saw what it did to my mother. The wind and dust and the whole ugliness of it. I don't want to dry up like a piece of leather. I want softness and gentleness in my life.
What kind of a monkey you reckon we've got here, Colonel?
Why don't you go find out, Zach?
Yeah, I think I'll do that. Just what are you supposed to be, mister?
Count Peter von Gilscher, Duchy of Hesse-Darmstadt. At your service.
Well, that's sure a mouthful of something. So you're a count, huh? I suppose that makes us all a lot of no-counts, that is?
Not at all, gentlemen. Not at all.
You've obviously seen military service, friend.
It was the only decent coat I had left. My other was in rags. When a man sets out on his last adventure, he owes it to himself to be neat about it.
Last adventure?
The one we all have to face sooner or later. The proudest of us.
Would I be wrong in saying that you sold your services as a soldier during the last conflict? The North, as well as the Confederacy, bought the services of European trash like you. Which side paid you off?
Vince, suppose he...
Yeah. It'd be pretty hard to decide what to do about it.
Well?
Shucks, ain't no question about which side he did his fighting for. That's why he ain't saying.
Let the man talk here.
I did not fight for money, gentlemen. I tried to be of some use to a cause and a man.
I presume that you're not referring to the Confederacy and Jefferson Davis.
I am referring to Mr. Lincoln, who spoke of the birthright of freedom and the abomination of slavery. I am an incurable romantic. I can't help myself.
The North had no cause. They fabricated one to justify invasion. And the man you talk about was a tyrant and a fool.
Dirty, meddling foreigner. That's the chicken wing, go drag him. Give him a taste of Yankee dirt.
You gonna let this happen?
Now, he was talking about a last adventure. Why not here now? However, I don't think it'll be fatal.
Drag him!
Get in here, you moose!
Take his arm.
Just who are you, sir?
I doubt if it makes any difference, but my name is Bonner, Vint Bonner.
And what makes you think this is any of your business?
I don't think you'd understand.
My boys were just having a little fun. I wouldn't have let anything happen to them. They find it as distasteful as I do, the thought of this outlander spilling Southern blood.
You're stuck with the wrong idea, Colonel. The rebellion is over.
You're a man of tremendous pride, sir. I too have a remnant left of that very dubious virtue. And I should like a satisfaction for your, let's say, very ungracious welcome.
Really?
Will you please get off your horse, Colonel?
Don't turn this into something crude. Count von Gilsa wishes to make this an affair of honor. As a gentleman completely sensitive to your outraged feelings, I accept. I shall see that the necessary arrangements are made.
Von Gilsa didn't get all those medals just fighting for the Union. A couple were from Emperor Maximilian in Mexico, another from Garibaldi in Italy, and a real elegant one from the Republic of Costa Rica. To a girl like Sophie, born and raised in Prairie City, this was a genuine hero, 10 feet tall, right out of those Eastern novels. A washed-up freebooter and a romantic girl.
You're a very strange young lady. So gentle with a washcloth and so ferocious holding a gun.
It's the first time I ever had a shotgun in my hands.
I'm afraid I've caused you both a lot of trouble.
Let's say you just showed up at the wrong time.
Perhaps the time and the place were meant to be.
I don't know what you mean.
I believe that the Colonel and I are very much alike.
How's that?
Well, he saw his way of life die right in front of his eyes. In Europe, that happened to me also. There is an intriguing rightness that the two of us should face each other like this.
It sounds kind of foolish to me.
Whether I die or live, it's of monumental unimportance. Indeed, there is a theatrical quality about the whole thing that appeals to me.
Come in.
One of Colonel Brumley's men wants...
The Colonel doesn't waste any time. Since you have issued the challenge, it is my privilege to name the weapons. I have chosen guns. A shootout, frontier style, in front of the hotel, at your convenience. Obediently, James William Brumley.
Any answer?
You said what you came to say. You can go now.
I'd like to take you on sometime, mister. Any style.
You mustn't do this. Promise me you won't.
Your concern touches me deeply, Fraulein.
You stay where you are. Let me have this.
But...
Let Vint handle this, please, Count von Gilsa.
I would rather you called me by my first name.
You can't fight Bromley's way. You don't have a chance. Why, he'd kill you before you could even draw.
And I would be very honored to call you Sophie.
Oh, stop it. I just can't believe you care so little for your life. Everyone has some kind of dream to live for.
You are so young.
Look at me.
Child, you're like a flower, so sweet and pure and fair. Du bist wie eine Blume. That's the name of the poem.
It's lovely. But isn't there anything I can say? At least wait. Wait until Vint gets back.
Very well. I'll wait.
Take your good, gentle time here. This little beauty loves plenty of attention. Colonel.
You serious about this?
I'm completely lacking in a sense of humor.
But it would be just the same as shooting a man in the back.
Man shouldn't carry a gun if he doesn't know how to use it.
You carry a gun. How would you like to change things around a bit? You accept this and consider the signature mine.
I found out a few things about you, Mr. Bonner. No thanks. If I took you up, it would be like you shooting me in the back.
All right, then. Let him ride out of town just as peaceable as he rode in.
I'm afraid you misunderstand me. True, I'm not a gunman, but I make sure I have the best talent in Texas. If I merely wanted to have a man killed. But with Von Gilse, it's something very deep and personal. Something I must do. Be careful of her mane. She's very touchy.
That the way you want to leave it?
Count Von Gilse took his chances when he joined the Northern Army, didn't he? Well, now he can take his chances here against me. That clear?
That's clear.
Mr. Bonner. It's now 5:30. I'm giving you until 6 o'clock to get out of town. If you choose to prolong your visit for some foolish reason or other, you can argue the point with Mr. Clegg here in the saloon of the Wilmer House. You lose, but you can argue.
It's like we scared him off.
You're a rotten judge of men, Clegg.
What are you doing here?
Making sure the right people go in and out.
I'm sure glad you're back, Mr. Bonner. With 3 saloons in town, Colonel Bromley's outfit suddenly decided to favor us with their patronage.
Miss Wilmer's still in the room?
Yes, sir.
You hold still.
I'm concerned about Vint.
Oh, you needn't be.
Aren't you through playing nurse, young lady?
Peter, you know, some people can be wrong about things without even knowing it. Like I was.
You?
Yes. Only a few hours ago, I hated this town. And now I can see how it could be the only place in the world I'd want to live.
And what is the great secret that has performed this miracle?
Falling in love. Don't you believe it could happen this way?
I don't know what to think.
Well, men fall in love with pictures in the matrimonial gazette, and Grace Pridey, she went to marry a cousin in Vermont she'd never even seen before.
Yes, that's enough.
Well, you may not love me, but you do need me.
You do not know anything about me.
Oh, I know you're gentle and you're tender. Everything I ever wanted.
That's impossible.
Oh, don't you see? You could be wrong, too. There could be a place for you, and it could be right here.
You seem to forget a matter of my immediate future.
Oh, Vint will take care of that somehow, and tomorrow the Texans will be gone, and we could start a new life for ourselves right here. You know, my father was right. You have to work for your happiness wherever you are. You never find it wrapped neatly in a package over the next hill. You found that out. So have I.
Your father was a very wise man. And he had a lovely daughter. My Liebchen. Oh, my Liebchen.
But Vint told you to wait until he got back.
I waited too long already.
No reason we can't have a drink before you two gentlemen start arguing.
It's after 6, Clay.
I wouldn't want to be in your way.
It's his shoulder.
You can put your gun away, Mr. Bonner. Took a lot of courage for you to come into this saloon tonight. The same goes for our European friend there when he drew Zach's fire from you.
What's the matter, Colonel Bromley? You getting religion?
No. Just a regrettable flaw in my character. I admire courage in a man. Any man.
I'll get you a doctor. You know, a man is a strange kind of animal. He can wander the face of the earth and never find a place to call his own. I've wounded some myself, and I know. It looked to me as though Peter von Gilsa had found his place.
Country with thick, rich veins of the yellow stuff in the surrounding hills. Now all the gold was long since gone, except for that which remained in men's dreams. I thought I heard a cry, a long ways off. Could have been an animal. Then it could have been something else.
We ain't got time for any more of that.
Can you think of a better way to make him talk?
Yeah. One sure way. Now listen to me, old man, because I'm only going to ask you this one more time. You can still hear, can't you?
I can still hear.
That's good. Because maybe now you can stay alive. Now for the last time, where'd you find that gold?
You'll have to kill me first.
Any way you like it, old man.
Vint, Bonner.
Drop the gun, easy. Well, the next one goes right between your eyes. You're Hiram Grover, aren't you?
That's me.
What are they trying to do, kill you?
Take more than the likes of them to hurt an old desert rattler.
right, now let him go. All right, what are you waiting for? Go ahead, shoot. Don't do it, Len. Now, you drop that gun or I'll break this man's arm. Do as he says, Len. Or do you want to kill your old brother? He calls your brother.
That's the only thing that's keeping you alive. I'll make you a deal, mister.
Name it.
Let him go. I won't use this. Otherwise, I'll kill you both.
Drop the gun first. Do it, Len. Give you a hand, Hiram?
I don't need no help.
They sure worked you over.
Why? Why? They're after the gold. Want to steal my claim.
Gold claim? What are you talking about?
Here. Loaded with the yellow stuff. I'll show you. The best ore I've seen in 40 years of looking. Yes, sir. Ore that'll make a man's eyes pop right out of his head.
You mean rock, don't you, Hiram?
No, I don't mean no such darn thing. I mean ore.
Now, look, old-timer, everybody knows that these hills were cleaned out over 20 years...
No, wait a minute. That ain't so. It ain't played out. It's just harder to find.
Well, maybe you found something, but you sure...
Gold? I say it's gold. If this here yellow stuff I've got here don't assay out over $1,000, I'll eat mule steak on Sunday.
$1,000?
Yes, and that ain't all. I'll just bet that this vein I found will deliver more gold in 1 year than all they ever took out of California.
All right, Hiram,
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
If anybody deserves getting a strike, you do. You've been looking longer than anybody I know.
Yeah, 45 years, Bent. Yeah, 45 years come winter. I told them people in Clay City that there was still gold in them there mountains. I could smell it. Did they believe me? No. They said old Hiram was touched. That his brains was rattling from too much sun. Well, they'll start braying a different song now. Fools. You think that I don't know gold when I see it?
Well, anyone can make a mistake, even an old-timer.
It ain't no mistake, you young fool. This is the real thing.
All right, Hiram.
All right.
You need any help getting to Clay City?
No, I know more shortcuts than you do. I'll be into town before you're into bed. Yes, and you can tell them people in Clay City that Hiram Grover struck it rich.
I'll tell them.
And see what they say about that.
Tell them.
Yeah, you just tell them.
Even if I'd felt like telling anyone, I knew no one would believe it. Not any more than I believed it myself. Anyway, the sun was going down when I got to Clay City. It was coming on Saturday night, but after roundup time at the Circle G, all I was thinking about was a feed for Scar and myself and 10 good hours of sleep between clean, cool sheets.
Who is it?
Hiram Grover, I gotta talk to you. It's important.
Oh. Come on in, Hiram.
Vint, if the whole world isn't chock full of sidewinders, horn toads, and rattlesnakes.
No, wait. Just a minute. What's the matter?
Oh, Enos Wilson is what's the matter?
You mean that man that runs the assay office?
Yeah, he couldn't tell a gold nugget from a tea kettle.
Well, what you mean? He told you that the stuff you brought in isn't any good, is that it?
No, that's the trouble. He didn't say nothing one way or the other.
Well, then, what are you ranting around about?
You see, by the time I got the Burros back into town, it was most 7 o'clock, and Enoch was closing up the assay office.
And it's a very good time for closing. And speaking of closing, Hiram...
I left them 3 sacks of gold with him and told him I wanted a report as soon as possible, and you know what he told me. Said I couldn't get a report till Monday.
Well, isn't that natural, tomorrow being Sunday?
Yeah, that's the same excuse you tried to hand me, the lying skunk.
Hiram, in case you don't know it, Sunday has a habit of coming after Saturday.
Vint, would you listen to me?
Hiram, everybody's been listening to you for years. All the times you've claimed to have struck it rich. If once, just once, you weren't convinced that this was it.
But, Vint, this is it.
Oh, Hiram, not again. Not again.
No, it's gold. It's gold, I tell you, Vint.
Hiram, all right. If it's gold, couldn't you wait till Monday?
I can wait. I've waited for 40 years. But what I don't like is a pack of lies being told.
By the little fella at the essay.
Yeah. I left my gold with him. Had no choice. Got me a bowl of beef stew at O'Brien's, and then I come back to see about the burros. So I peeked in the window, and there was Enoch sitting at the counter, testing my 3 sacks of gold.
All right, so he was testing your gold. That doesn't prove anything.
Oh, don't you see, Vint? He's fixing to take my gold for himself. As soon as he finds out how valuable it is, he'll do some substituting, and I'll wind up with 3 sacks of plain rock when I come in to see him on Monday.
Look, if you're so upset about this, why don't you go to him? Ask him straight out. He's probably got a simple enough explanation.
Well, I'm going to, and that's why I want you to go along.
Go along?
Vint, I need help. I ain't as young as I used to be, and you know what this strike means to me. Now, you don't want to see somebody swindle me out of it, do you?
No, Hiram.
Well, all right. Come on, we ain't got all night.
Well, give me a chance to get on some clothes.
Howdy, Enoch.
There they are. Them's my sacks.
Well, sure they're your sacks, Hiram.
You see, he ain't even denying it.
You've gone out of your mind, or...
I'll ask the questions, and you'll do the answering from now on, Enoch. And you better not lie in front of Vint Bonner here, either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought you said that you couldn't assay this ore until Monday.
Well, what if I did?
It appears like you sort of changed your mind on it.
Vint, would you know what's the matter with him?
Well, yes, I've got a fair idea.
There ain't nothing the matter with me. I can still take care of any skunk that tries to cheat me out of my gold.
What? Who you calling a skunk?
You. And if you ask me, it sure fits.
Why, you dried up little donkey pusher, I can know you were... Now, wait a minute!
Before one of you old fighting cocks throws your back out of place.
He can't talk to me that way.
I'll talk to you any way I like.
No, you can't, Hiram. Not unless you can prove what you're talking about.
Proof? Why, if I was trying to cheat him, would I have sent word for him to come by and pick up his assay report tomorrow morning?
You sent word?
Ask Mike O'Brien, you old horsehead. Went by the cafe myself looking for you. You'd already left. So I told him if he saw you to give you the message.
You told Mike?
Well, Hiram?
Well, doggone it, Vint, how was I to know?
Well, Enoch, I guess he's sorry.
Oh.
What did change your mind? Why did you decide to make your essay tonight instead of Monday?
He's been bringing me samples to assay for more years than I can remember. Usually it's low-grade stuff, too thin with weight and hardness to even bother about. A little better than fool's gold. But this time he seemed more anxious than usual. And then, too, this is definitely more promising. So I figured I'd just get right at it instead of waiting until Monday morning.
Enoch.
What do you want, you old fool?
Enoch, what is it? Is it gold, Enoch? Is it gold?
You think he might have stumbled onto something?
I
I can't say positively yet. I still got to make a couple of tests. But it looks like maybe it's gold. Gold? I found it! I found gold! Yippee! I found gold! Yippee! I found gold! I found it!
Evening, gentlemen. Who are you? Never mind. Grab some air. All three of you.
I see here,
You too, old man. I guess you didn't expect to see us again. I just start reaching. I guess this time there'll be no problem killing you. You run this place?
Well, I do the assaying.
Then open the safe.
Well, there really ain't nothing.
Never mind, Stolen. Get it open.
That was real nice, lugging this in for us.
You leave that alone, you hear?
Take it easy, Grandpop. Feels real heavy.
That all belongs to me. You got no right to it.
I guess you just don't hear good. I said take it easy.
I spent most of my life looking for that gold, and I... You don't leave it...
Hiram, let me see. You saved my gold bit. You better get him to a doctor quick.
Doc Nibble's house is in the next block.
We'll take him there. Grab hold.
How is it, Doctor?
Well, it's too early to tell anything yet. I got the bullet out, but he still isn't out of the woods.
See what you mean.
For a man his age to lose all that blood, it's a very serious thing.
Sure.
I understand you got the thieves, both of them.
You sure did, Doc.
What are his chances, do you think, Doctor?
He's an old man. I've seen fellows a whole lot younger than...
Yeah.
Say, you better get yourself some rest.
Well, I thought maybe we could,
Nothing you can do here. Not a chance of him coming to before morning.
Come on, Vent. Doc will take care of him.
All right, I'll see you in the morning, Doctor. I guess I didn't know how tired a man could get. Anyway, I slept till after 10 the next morning. Or maybe it was because I just didn't like the thought of going to Doc's to find out how Hiram was. I started to head for Doc's anyway. Then I passed the assay office, and though it was Sunday, I saw Enoch in there.
Howdy, Vin.
Morning, Enoch. Well, I see you got the place all straightened up.
Oh, yeah, Sheriff Jay and his deputy took care of that. I was, I just came back from seeing Hiram.
Oh. Is he...
No, but sure don't look good.
It's kind of sad. Just when he seems to have found what he's been looking for all his life.
You know, I couldn't sleep last night after all that fracas, and so I came back here and I finished up all the work on Hiram's samples.
This it?
Yeah.
Looks real rich.
Oh, it's the real thing, all right, no doubt about it.
So the old goat was right.
If there's any more ore as rich as this in those mountains, we'll have a full-scale gold rush right here in Clay City.
Well, Hiram ought to know about it.
Oh, he knows it.
He does?
Well, I told you that I couldn't sleep. So after I finished up the assay early this morning, I went right back over to Doc's. Well, I thought that Hiram would want to know before...
That was mighty thoughtful of you, Enoch.
It wasn't nothing. I just couldn't sleep, that's all. Oh, Doc says he's got a good, strong constitution for a man of his age. Why, he just hasn't got any fight left. You know, Vent, he just doesn't care whether he lives or dies.
Well, you had a hard night, Enoch. You probably all tuckered out, too.
Oh, no, Vent. You see, Doc couldn't understand it either. He thought if there was anything that would make Hiram want to live, it would be knowing he'd struck it rich.
Well, you'd think so after he spent most of his life grubbing around those mountains.
Well, the only way we can explain it is that Hiram just don't believe me. Maybe he thinks I'm lying to him because he's so bad off.
Well, he did say he never got an honest assay.
So we thought The doc and me, we thought that maybe if he heard it from you.
Yeah, maybe you're right. You know, Enoch, if I ever need a Philadelphia lawyer, I'm going to call on you. Well, Hiram, how's it going?
Fair, Vint, fair, considering.
Well, the doctor says you're going to be real well real soon.
Yeah, he told me.
But you know, doctor can't do it all by himself. You've got to give him some help.
It don't matter. Don't matter at all.
Now, what are you talking about? I figured you'd be jumping up and down in bed, just raring to get going as soon as you heard the news.
You mean about the gold?
Yeah, Enoch here says he told you. Biggest strike ever made around Clay City.
Yeah, he told me.
You believe him, don't you?
Yeah, I believe him. I knew it was real stuff first time I found it. Maybe that was the sign.
The sign?
Yeah, Vint. My life's over. 45 years I looked for that yellow stuff. And now that I've found it, it don't leave no reason to keep on looking. No reason at all. Oh, after all those years, I'm tired, Vint. Awful tired.
But Hiram, you're going to be a rich man, a very rich man.
Oh, you think that's why I was hunting for gold? Because it'd make me rich? Well, when I was younger, maybe that was the reason. But lately, in the last few years, I wanted to prove it to folks that I knew what I was talking about, that Hiram Grover wasn't touched in the head like they said.
But Hiram, you know better than to believe anything that people say about you.
So, it won't be so hard to die. It won't be hard at all. I got done what I set out to do. I guess maybe I'm luckier than most men get to be.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
It just goes to show, Vint, that things turn out for the best.
Yeah, sure. Well, I guess Enoch here did the right thing.
What's that?
Oh, nothing. You get some rest.
Now, just a minute, Vint Bonner. What'd you start to tell me about Enoch Wilson doing something? Now, finish it up. What you going to tell me? Go on.
Hiram, I don't want to get you upset, so you just get some rest.
Great jumping Jehoshaphat. Don't you worry none about me getting upset. I can take care of myself. Now, what was it you're going to tell me?
Well, Hiram, you were so weak and so feeble, you can hardly blame Enoch here for feeling sorry for you.
Feeling sorry for me? Enoch Wilson feeling sorry for me?
Well, anyway, I guess that's the reason he felt he had to tell you that...
You don't mean he was lying to me? That ore that I brought in wasn't full of gold?
No, I didn't say that.
Great balls of fire. Why, you low-down skunk. Of all the low-down double-crossing...
You're a sick man, and you better get...
Sick man, am I? I'll show you how sick I am. So, it wasn't true, huh, about my strike?
Now, Hiram, a man in your condition...
My condition? Oh, they thought I was going to die. And then they were all going to have a laugh on me, huh? Well, I just ain't going to be that obliging. No, sir. I'm going to get well if it kills me. I'll do it in spite of people. And tell me about these things. And I'll find gold. Yes, sir, I'll go out and find it in them there mountains where I said I'd find it. Yes. You're going to soft soap me into kicking the bucket.
Hey, Doc, come here.
Oh! Son!
Looks like your patient made a miraculous recovery.
You just tell them, Bint, that if they're thinking anything like that, they'd better start thinking... Oh, drat it. They'd better start thinking different.
Well, sir, by the time Hiram got well and found out he was responsible for a genuine gold rush, there just wasn't much he could do about it. Then the way the money poured in, faster than Hiram could spend it, no matter how hard he tried. Sure went in for some fly-by-night schemes, though. Like organizing a prospecting expedition to go to Alaska, someplace called the Klondike. Who'd ever find gold in a place like that?